than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hanson and I am joined by Friar Tuck tonight, and it's Thursday, and we're going to be following our schedule, and we're going to be doing $500 minimum buy-in, no limit hold'em, 5-10 blinds. It's an unrestricted buy-in game. And what does that mean, Dave?
It's an unrestricted buy-in game?
Yeah.
Well, it means you can buy in for whatever you want, obviously.
So someone could bring like $40,000 to
Theoretically,
the
they could, like Greg Rammer did
Right.
a long time ago.
And normally, though, people will buy in anywhere between 500 and what? 3,000?
Yeah, 3,000. Depends on the game, obviously.
Yeah.
Sometimes this game can play like it's a $500, $1,000 game, say. And then sometimes it plays like it's a huge game.
Well, I got to tell you, we really do have an action-filled lineup. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Let's do that. In seat 1, we've got Iman. There he is. Iman in the all-white, kind of glowing there. And he's got a lot of money there. I'd say he's probably got close to over $2,000. Each one of those stacks of yellow is probably $100. Seat number 2, we've got Shaheen.
Shaheen's a pretty tight player.
Yeah, he's pretty straightforward there. Seat 3, we've got an action player.
Yeah.
And as long as he's in this game, the game will stay action. And that is Jazz.
Yep.
Jazz Kwan, we call him Johnning. And he's got a lot of money in front of him. Seat 4, we've got Kirk Robert. And Kirk, he talks.
Well, here's the other thing about Kirk, too. He's one of these tournament players. And I was actually playing in this game around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And just from, I would say, the first half an hour that I played with him, and I'll get to it after we finish introducing the lineup, I don't necessarily know if he has some of the fundamentals, if he holds some of the fundamentals of cash game.
In cash game, yeah.
Yeah.
Seat 5, we've got Sylvester. And remember Sylvester from a couple of nights ago? We saw him on Monday. He was bluffing left and right on Monday.
Yep.
And he doesn't look like the type that was bluffing, but hey, sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Seat 6, we have one of the nicest guys in the world, but, he's here to have a good time.
Yep.
And
Lots of action.
Making money is not really what's on his mind.
Yeah.
He's here to have a good time. And his name is Tony.
Yep.
Great guy. Seat 7, we've got Jay Johnson. And Jay is also a tournament player.
He is really improved his game over the last year, though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I'd call him solid now.
Well, he's one of those guys, he plays solid like 85% of the time.
Yeah.
And if you catch him on those days, he looks pretty good. And then the other 15% of the time, you go,
Yeah.
what the heck's he doing? Seat 8, we've got Midnight there. We've got Havalabas
Yep.
wearing the NYPD hat there. And seat 9, we've got the Greek poker god, George Georgian.
So we got a couple of rocks lining, kind of rounding out the lineup there at the end.
Well,
Seat
anytime
8
you've got a
and seat
player
9.
like Jazz in the game,
Yeah.
and you get a player like Tony in the game, that's going to attract some pros.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sharks to blood,
Yeah. Now this is going to be an interesting hand here. We got a flop of 10-3-5, and George has got pocket sixes. Now, Jazz raised it on the button pre-flop with ace-king, and Jazz has made a continuation bet on the flop, and George is called with pocket sixes. So, and let's see what Iman's going to do here with 4-7. Looks like he is called. So again, remember, seat 3 really, really loose. So I think George thinks he has the best hand right now. The turn's a queen, and it goes checked around, and the river's a queen, and George has the best hand.
And at this point, George has got to think that he probably has the best hand.
Well, he's going to check the river. And pocket sixes is going to take it down there.
Yeah, 2 pair there. He's got queens and sixes with a 10 kicker.
Yeah. So like I said, a couple rocks down there towards the left side of the table. 8 and 9. And, sometimes you can say J, too, there now in seat 7. But again, the real action is Jazz there in seat 3. And Tony in seat 6, and Sylvester in seat 5 for that matter. And what I was going to get to the point there, Dave, Kirk Robert in seat 4.
Right.
He's the type of guy, and I saw him do this. Classic tournament move. He'll push all his chips in a cash game, like $1,000 over the top, on a flush draw. You know, like a low flush draw. You know, that's something that you would do in a tournament because you need to accumulate a lot of chips and use your chips strongly. I mean, I'm not saying it's...
I mean, it still can be effective, obviously, in a cash game.
Right, but you're not going to do it every time. You don't really need to do that in a cash game, you know, to make a lot of money. And he will make moves that, you know, he is, you know, pretty much consistent with a tournament-type player. We'll watch him in seat 4.
Object to the fact that you might be in the newspaper. Yeah. Anybody on this side?
We can get out when you take a picture.
I'm not quite sure what Don is asking them, but...
Pot is limped around here. King, Jack, Deuce. Couple hearts. Jay over there in seat 7 is going to flush draw on the blind.
Wow, and he checks it.
We can't see George's cards because he's still stacking his chips up. He's got 6, 7. It gets checked around. The turn is a 7.
All right, go ahead.
And it looks like Kirk has the best hand with ace 7. Now he's made trips. But look at this. George has also made trips in seat 9.
This is interesting.
Ace
The
7.
heart did not come. You wonder if George might get himself in a little trouble here.
George bet 100. And let's see what Kirk is going to do. I mean, you would think that you would raise here, right?
Well, I mean, you're pretty much only scared of a set, right?
He just calls.
Wow.
I can't imagine. I don't know why he would just call there with ace 7. That's amazing. I mean, does he really think that George checked a set in the flop and on the turn when nobody bet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think it's pretty clear that the guy doesn't have a set, right? I mean, that's all you're really scared of, right? There's no straight out there.
There's no straight. I
King,
mean,
Jack,
ace 7
deuce.
is almost the nuts there, unless someone else has got a set of another card, right?
Right. And actually, yeah, it really is. Besides somebody having a full house, there's no straight out there. There's no flush out there.
That's amazing. I don't know what he was thinking.
Wow. Really surprised. And, you know, maybe Kirk just thought that he had like a bluff catcher, but he kind of didn't value his hand as highly as he should have.
Could easily had something else.
6 players.
King Jack, King 7.
Flop here, 8-7 deuce, couple of hearts.
13th best hand, I had 14.
Best hand is actually seat 7, and that is Jay Johnson, and he's going to bet it.
Make it 40.
But no, actually, King 8 over there in seat 3.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see that.
And he's going to raise.
Well, there you go.
And Jay's going to call with
Yeah,
top
Jay's
pair.
in kicker problem here.
So seat 3 against, or seat 7 against seat 3. And it looks like Kirk is still in there with pair 7s in seat 4. And now Kirk is going to fold.
And is Tony still in there too? No, Tony's out. Now, it's funny. Normally, you can just go, Tony, there's no way Tony's in his hand, but you never know with Tony.
Right.
He could be in there with that.
Jay called again, and the river's a queen, and Jazz's hand's good here. And it just gets checked down, and King 8 is going to take it down.
8 with a king.
Yeah, again, I mean, I go back to that hand with Kirk. I mean, I don't know. I mean, George is a smart player. George is a smart player. And,
He's smart, but he's not a genius. He's not like,
well,
you know,
what I was
idiot
going to say
savant.
was that you might necessarily get all his chips if you pushed the river, but you definitely could have got a raise in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, George has got $3,000 in front of him.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get them all, but you can certainly raise a couple hundred, can't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he bet 100 into a small pot. Why not? Pump it up a little bit.
Looks like Sylvester's got an ace-king offsuit there in the cutoff. Seat 5.
Well, you drink a beer also?
And we got the tightest guy in the table there, Dave, limping in seat 2. Queen 10 of clubs. Jazz is going to play ace rag suited. He's going to limp in. And let's see how much Sylvester's going to raise here with ace king.
And the blinds are 5-10. You got 2 players that have already limped in, so you've already got $35 in the pot.
75.
And he is going to raise it up here to 75.
All right.
Wow, and Jazz is going to call.
Jazz is going to call him. The queen 10 suited is out of there, and then here we go.
And Jazz has got a lot of money.
Jazz has got a dominated hand here. He's in trouble. And the flop comes 9-4-7. Nobody hit anything here. Sylvester's going to make a $150 continuation bet here in position.
And he's betting just a little under the pot here.
I have a piece of that, so he's gonna call.
And Jazz is going to call. Wow.
Maybe to
He says
settle
he
the
has
play.
He says he has a piece of it.
Well, it's more than Sylvester has, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a piece of it, though. The pot is now about $700 here going to
Now
the
there are
turn.
draws out there, so it's hard to figure. If if Jazz had 6-8, 5-6,
Yeah.
diamonds, he'd be drawing.
Turns a 4. He gives him a heart draw. And if he actually made a move at this, there's just no way that Sylvester could call. He checks, but Sylvester looks like he's going to bet again.
Wow. I thought maybe Sylvester would shut down at behind that.
It's a $700 pot, and he's going to bet. How much does he bet here? 300.
It's all clean, good.
He's bet 300.
I'll check.
And the river here is a heart, and Jazz has made a heart.
Wow.
He's made a flush.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. And I think he's checked it again.
And I got to
Let's
tell
see
you,
what's the action. Let's see what's happened here on the river. He's moved. Jazz has moved all in here, Dave, at the end.
Okay.
So he chased a backdoor heart draw. He didn't really get implied odds, and he's moved all in here at the end. He's basically moved all in. The pot was 1,200 before this card here on the river, and he's moved all in. And it looks like Sylvester might have, I want to say maybe 700 in front of him. So it's in essence a $700 bet, but a $1,900 pot, 700 to call.
Right.
Sylvester has nothing.
yeah, he can only beat a busted diamond draw,
Yeah.
pretty much. He can only beat, so think about the other draws out there, 5-6, well, Jazz would have a pair of 5s. 6-8, he would have gotten there, obviously got the straight with the 5.
Yeah.
If he had hearts, he got there. If he had any pair, he beat him. He could only beat a busted diamond draw. Something like King, Jack of diamonds.
Right.
King, 8 of diamonds, something like that.
Well, again, the pot's $1,900 and it's 700 to call.
Well, sometimes you just gotta like manufacture what, what's out there to beat.
And we're going to ask for a clock here. And Sylvester's still.
Sometimes you
thinking
get a little frustrated with, when you don't win a hand, and you almost start conjuring up hands that your opponent must have that you can beat.
Well, he's still thinking about it. And he's folded. And look, just like that, Jazz is going to take it down there. Well, Sylvester never got gun shy.
No, I know, I'm saying. Wow.
He never got gun shy.
You get that feeling once a year.
And he
Jazz
takes
takes it down.
Yeah.
You wonder, now Jazz is a pretty crazy player. He might have made that move had he not hit hard. You wonder.
Well, I think Sylvester was sometimes thinking, he was really thinking, maybe I'm going to call here with ace king.
Well,
I mean-
you've seen crazier things.
Yeah.
If the guy had, I've made some big calls with just ace king because, you think the guy's got a diamond draw. And
Yeah.
he missed.
Well, of course, if you want to follow a live thread that started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. Go to Texas Hold'em, mid and high stakes pot, no limit Hold'em. The official live bike thread for December 1st. My God, is it December, Dave?
It is.
The temperature was really cool here in the LA basin, about 69 today.
I play everything, man. For me,
Might go down to like the high 40s tonight.
Oh, well, maybe up in Burbank, but for me in Beverly Hills, maybe the low 60s. But still,
All hearts out there.
it was limped around King 3-9, all hearts.
Yeah, Tony's got the best hand here with top pair.
100.
And he's going to bet 100.
Take the other.
Imagine he'd take it down.
Yeah, it looks like that. Going to take it down. And this is going to be a really fun night as long as Jazz keeps winning, I got to tell you.
Now, there's a lot of yellow chips on the table. Remember, yellow chips are $5 chips. Purple chips are $25 chips. And if you see white chips on the table, those are $100 chips.
I need to change some yellow.
And this game is usually played with mostly purple chips. But
That's not gonna help you.
these guys seem to have a lot of yellow chips on the table.
Because Harper's in the car.
Well, here we go. First chip count of the night, Jazz with $9,000.
Wow.
I think he's up more like 10,000 now. Look at Jay over there. He's got 6,000. And Iman there, 2,100. And
100.
we got Pocket Aces over here in seat 9. And Pocket Queens in seat 3. So this is going to be an interesting hand. But look at this. Sylvester's raised with pocket 10s in seat 5. See what George does here. He's going to re-raise it up. He's going to raise it to 240, Dave. And you know Jazz isn't going anywhere. He's got queens.
This could be a big pot because George
Yeah.
has about $2,000.
And he moves all in. He's going to move all in with queens.
Wow.
Now, Sylvester only has, maybe 500 left?
Can I be George right now? Can I just be him? I want to be George right now.
Well, George has got aces. It's a no-brainer for him. I don't know. Maybe we can...
He might get the overcall here from Sylvester, though. Because remember, it's Jazz moving all in.
Yeah. I wonder how much George has in front of him right now.
He's got about 2,000. Actually, a
Wow,
little-
he's got more than that,
Yeah.
Dave. Dave, I think we are... And it's actually still in Sylvester. Dave, I think George has a between 2 and 2,500.
There you go.
So
Okay.
we're going to see a pre-flop all-in here.
About $5,000.
About a when's the last time you've ever seen that? A $5,000 run here.
Actually, we did see it last night.
You have to show me.
Well,
Ace
in the
King versus Queens.
51.
Remember that? Yeah.
And look at this. George is saying, do you want to run it?
We've been through this, haven't we? Go move.
Says, do you want to run it?
How many times you want to run?
Well, they're going to run it 3 times here, Dave.
Oh, that was classic.
And this is going to be about a $5,000 pot. And look at this. The first time Jazz hits a set of queens.
How happy is George that he's running this thing 3 times?
Unbelievable. Wow.
Medic made off for you, huh?
Man.
So Jazz wins the first time. Turns a 4. Rivers a 10. George wins the second time.
Tens. I lose both at this point.
Here we go. Third time here. 7,
7, 8,
6,
yeah.
7. Wow. Look at that. Trips again. And George wins 2 out of 3 there, Dave.
One time.
So again, we're going to explain this one time. Why do we run the cards multiple times, and how does that affect things?
I'm going to let you jump on that one. Go again. Okay, well, we run it 3 times, obviously, to decrease to basically decrease variance. Obviously, the same odds each time. But sometimes these players don't want to risk their entire bankroll. So what they do is they run it more than once. And in this case, it was 3 times, so the pot is actually split up into thirds. And so in that case, it was about a $5,000 pot, so about $1,700 for each time. So out of that $5,000 pot, George is actually going to get about $3,400, and Jazz will get $1,700.
What do you mean one time? 2,250.
And that might be the last time Jazz ever runs it 3 times.
That's unbelievable. It was about 2250 right there, so we had it on the head. And look at that board. I don't know if we can shoot over to the board. It looks like we're playing some sort of solitaire game there, Dave, or
All three times, Jazz is a full house.
yeah, trips.
4s over queens, 7s over queens, and queens over 6s.
Take that money. No. I go in total sound.
So obviously George ends up in the head there.
You cannot take this.
I thought it was pretty funny there. George sitting there going, do you want to run it more than once? And the guys, well, what do you have? Are you calling? Are you calling? And then, of course, the second he saw the aces, he jumped on it. He goes, okay, let's run it. Although that doesn't really make much sense, though. It doesn't make a difference to run it 3 times or 1 time or 2 times.
It doesn't. The only thing that it makes, again, we've had this discussion before, the only thing it does to run it more than 1 time, the more times you run it, the more times the outcome is going to be closer to what the odds are. And basically the odds are 82 to 18, right? Over pair against under
Yeah,
pair.
it's right around there.
Yeah. So the more times you run it, if you run it 100 times, chances are it's going to be somewhere around that number. You're going to win 82 times. The other guy's going to win 18 times. The other thing is, if you run it once, you might happen to be one of those times that you lose, right? And that's part of the reason why they do it, to lower the variance.
Yeah.
You only get 1 time. Look, there's 1 time you win.
And we say this all the time. It actually started a long time ago because they didn't want games to end. And then let's say theoretically back in the 80s, if George was in his hand and he lost the first one, George would be out. He wouldn't have any more money in his pocket, and the game might break.
The game might end. Right. That's the point. Of course, you can also email us live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. We do read them. We appreciate it. Positive and negative, dude.
Hey, am I getting this right here? That Jazz actually, the game started at 5 o'clock, and Jazz bought in for $1,400? Wow.
Well,
that would make him up about 7,000 on the night then.
well, fortunately for us, we only, worry about it from when we start the show.
Right, but I'm just
so-
looking at this. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily correct because we'll see.
I want to get rid of the yellows.
Use your white chips, man. Don't buy the
Tired
yellow.
of these yellows.
So obviously this is a big math problem here for the dealer, Dave.
You're
I
not
don't
happy
know.
with
I mean,
one at a
this is
time?
sometimes why they don't do this, running it multiple times in smaller games, because it just takes so long.
Well, it
I
slows
mean,
the game
it's
down.
like,
I just run it once. Now lose it all.
well, we're gonna give you a little clue into our play for free site that we always talk about, Dave,
Oh, cool.
on the show. We're gonna put this up on the screen right
And how
now.
do I get to the free site?
We can go to thebike.com. There you go. There's the lobby of the play for free site.
That's pretty cool.
And this is where we're going to be holding in the near future free rolls with us. Bounties on, live at the bike commentators and such.
Oh, great. Wow.
So this is where you enter it. So check it out. Get familiar with the software. There it is.
I love the stakes are for play, but look at the average pot size.
And look at the flop percentages. The amount of people that see the flop.
That's pretty good software, too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
There it is. And Dave, word is you're going to be playing on it next week on Tuesday.
Yes, I am going to. Well, I play on often, to be honest with you, but Tuesday I'm going to be playing on it, and I guess there's going to be a bounty on my head.
Yeah.
I don't know what the winner is going to get.
And when are the details about that going to come out? It's actually going to be a live at the bike free roll.
Look, at 50, yeah.
It's actually, to answer my own question, it's a live game
Right.
with play money, and we're going to be sending an email blast out about it on Monday to, I guess, some of our archive subscribers.
He had to call 2250.
Or to everyone that we have our emails
Right.
about.
And whoever knocks me out gets some sort of prize.
So it's actually a tournament?
I get my money back.
What you need to do is figure out what you owe, you're telling him.
It's 4,500. That should be their
How much
total.
there? 5, 10, 15?
Yes, exactly. I'm going to be playing for a set number of hours, actually, and if somebody can knock me out, I'll have, obviously a certain amount of play money, and if somebody can knock me out, they will get an award.
Yo, 17.
Basically a bounty on my head. But I challenge everybody, because I don't think anybody's going to knock me
Well,
out.
that will be interesting.
I will be the last man standing.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen at the table. Right
Well, it's
now.
really
What's going
ridiculous.
on?
I'm not sure why it's taking so long.
That's got to be 2250.
I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
Not 2250.
I mean, we've never had something where they've run it 3 times and it's taken 10 minutes to
I mean, you
figure
realize
out
the simple
money.
part of the whole entire thing.
I know.
All you have to do is George takes all his money back,
Yeah.
Don't worry, we are here.
right?
Yeah, no. I mean, if you're a dealer, you should be able to do some math.
It's just, it's amazing. I mean, why can't George count the amount of money that he has total? Right? And then he takes his money back, and then don't you split the main pot then into
Exactly.
half, right?
Calculator right here.
Or excuse me, well, he's basically getting a third, right? He's getting 2/3 of the pot.
Hey, I'm putting you guys on the clock.
It's unbelievable.
You guys on a 1-minute clock to handle this spot. Hey, Donna.
Wow.
Donna.
I mean, fascinating stuff here. Absolutely fascinating. Well, the buttons moved over here in seat 8.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, there it
And
is.
this is the exact reason why casinos don't
Yeah.
allow it at smaller games.
I know.
It slows the game down. And obviously, time is money,
Right.
5 seconds to handle this spot.
That was probably about 7 or 8 minutes where
It
no hands were
literally
being played.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, but next time have to put in the pot right away, no matter.
The butt moves over there to George. Oh, it actually moves over there to seat 1.
Yeah, seat 1 there, Iman.
Yeah.
He's got the button.
Well, that was exciting.
Small blind is Shaheen. Big blind is Jazz.
Yep.
He's going to stay in there.
Looks like Barry Woods is on the thread there. 1, 2 plus 2. B-Dub-1. He comes to the
Where's he been lately?
well, he was here. He wasn't here yesterday.
I guess last week.
He was here on Monday, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you didn't stick to your guns this time. Man, I never run it when I'm a favorite. Why would I do that?
And you hear the logic there. I never run it more than once when I'm a favorite. If I'm underdog, then I run it more than once. And obviously the logic is somewhat flawed there.
Well, much like other things, I'm sure, in their lives, the logic is flawed. Jack 5-4 here on the flop.
Shaheen has 2 pair.
Yeah.
Top 2.
It was limped around.
Tony's got top pair, and
He's going to
if
bet
you
it.
know Tony, he ain't going nowhere.
He's bet here. I believe he's bet about $50. And again, we talk about C2 being the tightest player on the table. He's going to check raise. But again, I don't necessarily know if Tony's privy to that information or if he's paying attention. But he makes the call. We've got a $300 pot here. Look
And
at the
Amon's
button.
still in there?
Amon. He called Tony, and he called the check raise with pocket sevens.
After Tony overcalled it.
And the pot's now $450. Turns a 6,
Well,
and now
now-
Amon's open-ended.
Yeah, and so is Tony.
Right. And Shahan is going to lead here for $200.
$200 bet from Shaheen there.
And Tony, let's see what Tony's going to do
He doesn't
here.
have much money left.
Tony's going to call all in here, I guess. Although we haven't seen him move any chips.
Yeah.
So Tony has called.
Hey, he's not all in. He actually has 200 there called.
Yeah. And Amon is going to call. This is unbelievable.
Well, and we quickly have, what, about a $1,000 pot?
Oh, yeah, more like, about $1,100. And the river's a queen and Jack 5 escapes. So it's about an $1,100 pot, and Shahan's going to bet. Looks like 100. A little blocker bet there at the end. Tony calls. And is Amon going to overcall again? He's going to call again. And this is going to be about a $1,400 pot that Shahan's going to take down there with Jack 5. Dave,
How
I
can you
got to
possibly think your sevens are good there?
Dave, I got to tell you, when you sit down to a no-limit table, you got to identify the players that you don't want to give action to. I mean, how do you give Shahan any action in C2? We've seen him on the Wednesday game, too. He's tight as a rock.
I mean, to be honest with you, regardless, even if I never even knew who this guy was, I have pocket sevens. The guy check raised me. The other players called, I'm going to overcall with pocket sevens all the way to the river? Come on.
Yeah. Now, actually, I want to address something before it even comes up on the thread or an email, because somebody else asked me about it.
What?
Before the show a couple nights ago. They're like, well, why don't you just have it so that you can't run the river multiple times on Live at the Bike? Well, we are subject to the game, Dave. And some players are just not going to play. And would you rather have no game or have that rule in place?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, there are a lot of players that don't run it more than once, like Barry Greenstein
Right,
being one
right.
of them. But a lot of some of the biggest players in the world,
Right.
Hassan Habib, we want them, but they want to run it more than once.
Right.
You know?
So it's just something that we're just not going to be able to.
And you know what? Part of the great thing about our game is that it is cash games, and that is a part of cash games.
Right. We had a raise here by Jay to 75 with Ace King. Ahmad called with Queen Jack offsuit. And actually, and here we go to the flop. And we've got four-way action.
Well, there's Amon 7. It finally came out.
7-3-4 here. And I think Tony is all in for $15. And Shahan is going to check raise to 200 from up front. Let's see what Jay's going to do with the Ace-King now. Well, he's not stupid. He's probably going to let it go. He does. Tony is all in here, and he needs a lot of help because him and Amon have the same hand. Amon mucks. And Jazz has a pair of fours, which is good right now, and now he's made it straight.
Yeah.
And the river's a 10, and Jazz is going to take it down.
Yeah, Tony was drawing dead there on the turn.
What a $300 pot.
Tony's going to get some more money rebuy.
Yep.
One thing great about a cash game is you can get up whenever you want, unlike a tournament, but you can also rebuy whenever you want. As long as you either have the credit or the money you can always stay in the game.
And Dave, you're one of those folks with the Black American Express card, huh?
I do not have a Black American Express card, actually. Why do you ask?
Well, you always claim to have some of the top credit in the world.
Do I? Strange segue.
Well, you were talking about markers and credit.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. No, I
get a raise here by seat 7, pocket 8s.
300.
He made it 60. And again, seat 2's got pocket kings. He's going to come over the top. Boy, my 8s would be in the muck as quick as possible right now.
Yeah, well,
Shahan makes it 300 to go with pocket kings. And Jay, the original raiser's got pocket 8s.
and he's made it 300, so this is pretty much a no-brainer.
He doesn't like it, but I think he's going to fold.
I mean, sometimes you can take a flop if you have a lot of money.
Well, how much does Jay have?
Jay's got $6,000.
Well, that's what we have down there, but I don't see it though.
But I don't think Shahan has any money.
How does Jay have $6,000?
We said 2250. That's not 50.
I'm trying to find out. Is it Shahan or is it Shaheen?
I don't think Jay has $6,000 there, Dave.
6,600. Really, what's the difference? But he's got
$600.
Well,
unfortunately, we made a mistake last time, but he's gonna put it all in. He's gonna put it all in there. He's gonna make it 340. And Shahan calls. So Jay is gonna gamble it up here with pocket 8s.
Yeah, once again, we are live, folks. Unedited, unscripted. And obviously, once in a while, we do get screwed up information. Sorry about that.
So here we go, 8s against kings. Queen 6-4 here with a couple of hearts.
And these guys are only running it once.
Turns a 5. River's a 6.
Oh, twice. I'm sorry.
Well, they're going to run it twice, Dave, actually. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference unless we see an 8 here on the river.
No, that's it.
So Shahan's going to take the whole thing with kings, and Jay goes broke. Just like that, Shahan's won a couple big pots.
Yeah, well, you know what, Jay, he put $60 in the pot. Now, my first thought was if he had 6,000 and Shaheen had like 6,000 also, okay, maybe he can take a flop with pocket 8s.
Getting confused over there, man.
But
those chips. Let's go.
with only $340, you're not playing a tournament here. You don't have to double up.
Tony, big one.
I would never be jealous of you, my friend.
And Tony is rebought, and Jay is going to rebuy as well. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10.
Well, I think that's one of the things that you see, Dave. I mean, there are some professional poker players that follow the WPT tour around just to play in cash side games. I have a friend that does it in the No Limit games. And he says, guys will come out of the tournaments and they'll buy in for $5,000 in a 20-40 game and, call an all in or push all in with pocket 8s or pocket 9s.
Right.
Just with that tournament sense. You just don't need to do that in a cash game.
Well, you can always... Now look at this flop for Kirk here. Trip kings.
Yep. Kirk in seat 4. Let's see how he plays it.
And nobody has an 8.
And he's on the button, and he checks it. Turns an ace, and still no one has anything.
Hey, he's not going to make any money on this one.
60.
But Jay is going to bet. He's going to bet 60, try to steal it. And let's see what Kirk does here. Kirk is just going to call.
And I imagine Jay's done with it, isn't he?
Well, here we go to the river. Kirk just called. River's a 9. And Jay checks, I believe. Yeah. And Jay shows the bluff. Kirk bets. And Kirk takes it down there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it doesn't make much sense. If you only have $300 in front of you, and you're kind of looking for one hand to just move all in with, why not just rebuy for more? Reach in your pocket. I mean, Jay's already done it now. Reach in your pocket for another $500 and rebuy and make it so you have $800 in front of you.
Exactly.
So you can actually play some real poker.
Yeah. I want 2 hands and I'm just sitting here.
Button moves over there to, I believe it's seat number 5.
Yeah, Sylvester's got the button here.
Limpers.
He's in there with 10 deuce, but he does not play.
And it looks like it's going to be limped around here.
Yep, $40 pot to the flop. Flop is 10-8-4 rainbow.
Looks like Tony's got top pair, but he checks it there, Dave, from seat 6. And Kirk is going to bet. He's in position. Jack 8, he bets. Let's see what Tony does. Tony's going to check raise. It looks like to 100.
There you go.
So the minimum.
This is it. The one behind, I don't know. This is it.
And let's see what Kirk does. Kirk's going to make the call. And Kirk is in big trouble, Dave, because look at his kicker. It's shared by Tony.
Yeah, Kirk is in real bad shape.
He needs
here.
to spike an 8.
Check out road. I don't know.
About a $250 pot. Turns a 9. Both players have straight draws now. Tony's going to bet 100, and Kirk quickly calls.
Queen.
And the river's a queen.
Queen. Queen.
And I think Tony was all in on the turn. And they're going to chop it up.
That's a bad beat.
That's real bad.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's better than an
You didn't
8.
need the queen. You were good. Oh, no, you had a 8? Oh, never mind. You didn't need the queen.
Well, and I'm checking out this report on Hendon Mob on Kirk Robert. Pretty prolific tournament history here.
Right.
He has one listing. Came in 22nd, and he won $445.
I just beat the whole way.
So he's one of those unsuccessful tournament players.
I think he might specialize in those tournaments that are like our nooner tournaments.
Oh,
Which,
okay.
you know, kind of those railbirdish type tournaments. But I wonder how he's playing in this game. Maybe he had a score. A high
Yeah.
score. But then again, I don't know anything about Kirk, so I'm not going to
No,
speculate.
I have nothing, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy could be worth $1 million for all we know.
The button's going to move over there to Tony. And that is a chop pot, Dave. It's a bad beat, but like you said, at least he didn't lose, right?
Yeah, like it could have been worse. An 8
Yeah.
could have come on the river. Barry Woods actually told me that he actually got better at playing poker by playing at the Play for Free site. The Bike's Play for Free site. That's where he first learned how to play.
Yep. Look at this email here from Rob Rosenberger. Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. He said, thank you for the great commentary about runs in a small game. This is something you'll never see on TV. I learned a lot in those 7 to 8 minutes when nothing happened. Keep up the great commentary. Well, thank you, Rob. I don't know if I would call this a small game, but to each his own, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you watched last night, this looks like a small game.
Right.
Last night when we had about $120,000 on the table.
7, 8, 10 here, limped around. Jazz is going to bet 30 here with Queen 9. He's got straight draw. He's open-ended.
He's open-ended, plus he's got the queen, which makes it a little stronger even. So
Exactly.
if Jack comes, he's got a higher end part of it.
Two people call here, Ace 6 and Jack 6. Turns a 9.
And that gives both sixes a straight.
Yep,
But Jay's got the higher straight. 'Cause
that's
he's got
right.
the Jack high
And
straight.
look at that. Jay's got Jack 6 over there. And Jazz continues to bet, and Tony moves all in with Ace 6 at the bottom end. But Jay in seat 7 from up front checked the turn. He's got the real hand with the Jack.
The real hand, Jack 6 offsuit.
And he calls.
So everybody have a check.
Tony moved over the top, and Jay calls here. Looks like a $160 bet. So the pot now is about $600 to $700, and we're on the side between Jay and Jazz. And Jazz only has a pair of 9s right now. If
Right.
a Jack were to come, he would have the best hand. The river's a king. Let's see what Jay does here.
All in.
And Jay,
You said go in like that. The motion was like that.
and wait a minute, I think Jay said he moved all in.
I flopped.
Jay moved all in, and Jazz exposed his cards. But it doesn't matter.
Well, Jazz, yeah,
Jazz is going to fold anyway.
Jay waved his hand, and
Right.
Jazz thought he'd just checked.
Right. Jay's going to take everything there with the straight to the Jack. Take
Jazz is an action player, but he's not going to call an all-in bet with a pair of 9s. Without
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Especially when Tony's all in and pushed all in behind him.
Right.
Yeah, that's why it's going to forward motion on chips, too. It also protects.
I want to let you go
The
because
button here moves over to
you did
Jay
like
in
that.
seat
You have to
7.
say all in, then you give me your motion.
Yeah, I did. Look at the camera. I've been playing for a while.
Button is in seat 7.
I'm not as lucky as you. I've been playing.
Small blind is midnight there, Hob. Big blind is George.
Are you playing with a jack 7?
Dealing the cards out here.
Trust me, I said all in.
1,000, but
You did say what the motion was first.
I know. Sit 6 play 1,000 behind.
Ace Queen here for seat 5.
Yeah, we got a... Action is actually seat 4, and he's folded.
It looked like
Sylvester here is with Ace Queen. I'm sure he'll raise it up.
And he's going for those yellow chips, which are $5 chips. And he's going to make it 50 to go with Ace Queen.
About 5 times the big blind. Not bad.
Two people saw it. I apologize.
And look, you can see an ace there.
Yeah, you can see Ace there by Hav.
But he throws it away. Doesn't want to play a weak ace out
I
of
think he had
position.
Ace Deuce.
saying it looked like.
Now, we don't know what George has over there in seat 9. He's got an ace, too. Look at that.
Also has an ace, and he throws it away.
Yep.
And rarely do you see a good player call with a weak ace out of position.
And there was only one ace left, Dave. So there you go.
You had privilege that he didn't have. Oh, you had an ace, man? Thanks for letting me know, man.
And Sylvester takes it down.
You did see my ace? Ace of us. So now I know you'll beat.
You know, guys,
I give the guy some
we
respect. I
play
lay
a
down
very
ace 10.
friendly
He's
game,
pissed off at
and I don't think we want to cheat to anybody.
He's seeing an ace. I don't see it.
Button moves over here to seat 8.
I'm giving this message to everybody.
To me?
And
Live
we're going
at
to
the
have a dealer change here.
Unedited, unscripted.
There's a cross facing that way,
You can
right?
catch us every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 p.m.
That's right. And then you can also catch us throughout the day. Previous night shows rerun.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Laid down a better hand.
All the way until 4 o'clock Pacific time the next day.
I actually watched it today. I wanted to see what last night's show was like, so it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I wasn't doing anything, so I turned it on in the background.
And we're going to see a misdeal here. I'm going to tell you, Dave, the first half an hour of this show tonight, I don't necessarily know if people are privy to this, but it's kind of like the Twilight Zone out there. There's just all kinds of weird things happening.
Yeah.
Misdeals, dealers taking about 15 minutes to figure out the pot. There's a guy that looks like a ghost in seat 1 here.
The funniest thing is, I've actually seen where they've run it more than once, but there was like a main pot and 3 side pots. So it was somewhat difficult for the dealer because, like, the first side pot went to this guy, and then this side pot had to be split 3 ways to this guy. So, but that was only 2 players in there. I don't understand why it was so difficult.
The guy in seat 1, he kind of, because of his white clothing,
Yeah.
it's the halo effect. It kind of looks like Unsolved Mysteries. You know what I mean? We get a raise here to 50.
Sylvester's got ace king here.
Yep. Just picked up ace queen, and now he's picked up ace king. And Kirk is going to give him action here.
Out of position with 7-4 clubs.
Yep.
Nice hand to have in blackjack, but not quite as good as ace king.
So $100 pot. Here we go. Queen, 5, queen. Kirk is checked. Look at this. Sylvester checks right behind him. Not necessarily a bad hand for ace king there, Dave. And now that queen comes on the turn. And I think Kirk is checked again. And now Sylvester's going to bet. Kirk's going to get away from it.
I'm surprised Sylvester doesn't bet that flop. I mean, why give your opponent a free draw at the cards at some point?
Well, like we often say, when the board comes paired, especially heads up, usually everyone's missed it.
Yeah.
And ace king is the best hand anyways.
I mean, unless your opponent's called you the pair already.
Right.
But if Kirk comes out and bets down the turn, you're not sure if he actually had something or did you induce that bluff?
Yeah.
What do you do?
They moved it over there so you guys can get some close. Is that a straddle or a raise? Straddle?
Ace queen suited here for George. He's going to raise it up.
You and me again, huh? All right. I call you.
And Jazz is going to call. $75 raise, and Jazz is called with a dominated queen 3. And look at that, Dave. There's a queen, and Jazz is going to get into some
That's the
trouble
exact
here.
reason why you don't want to play queen 3. What are you looking to hit?
Jazz checks. And the funny thing for George is that if George got check raised big here by a real solid player, he would reevaluate with ace queen. But if Jazz does it, Jazz could do that with any queen.
Yeah.
So a bet and a call here.
And the pot is quickly about
450.
400. Yeah, 450. Yeah.
450. Here we go to the turn. Turns a 5. Now Jazz is open-ended.
Yeah.
Jazz checks.
Jazz got a lot of outs here. You need a deuce, a 3, or a 7.
Let's see what George does here. He's going to bet.
250.
He's going to bet 250. And Jazz calls again. We've got about a $950 pot going to the river. George is going to need to dodge some cards here.
Yeah, deuce, a 3, or 7.
Yeah, deuce, 3, or 7. Here we go. And the river's a jack, and he's gotten him through it. And look at this. Is Jazz going to put a little blocker bet on here? He's going to bet 300 at the end there, Dave.
Wow.
And it might work. It works. George names his price,
Yeah.
but George is going to take it down there with the ace-queen. And there it is. George takes down over $1,000 pot.
Look. Right through the chest. Hit me hard.
Interesting. I'm not sure if George had a big enough hand to raise there.
I go home and look at it and see a ring mark. You see you don't have any rings on. Cool. All right.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I want you to do this. I want you to
You knew he wasn't going to go anywhere.
We had a bunch of people that emailed us and said it on the post that they could hear the sounds of the Play for Free site in the background.
Oh.
But I got word that is we've
It's finally
cut
off.
that off. We apologize, but thank you everyone for our your astute ears.
Yes.
Right. Sorry about that.
And we actually have great free rolls on that where we give away real money.
Yeah.
So, really kind of cool.
So again, we apologize for that, but it is off. The button's going to move over here to seat 2. Again, you can email us live at thebike.com.
Another chip count here. Jazz down to about 6,500. He took that hit when he had the queens versus George's ace, and then another hit there, obviously, when he was out-kicked with queen 3. George moves up to 3,000. Wow. Shaheen, nice little jump up. He doubled up to 1,800. Jay pulling up the rear there with only 400. And Tony, of course, with 1,000. He's in seat 6, but he's already rebought a couple times, so he's in the game for a couple $1,000.
Oh, you don't want to give up some chips.
This is going to get chopped around to the blinds. Well, Dave, this is a live show, and it's just a little funny. And we're on a 5-minute delay.
Right.
So we're getting the emails coming in the flux now.
Right.
About
It's
those
very
that
entertaining.
Play for Free sites.
Well, I mean, that's
Sorry about that, folks.
what I love about the show. Is the fact that it is interactive.
Yes, it is.
How many emails we got? We got 6 from David the Queen.
No, we got 15 emails in the last 2 minutes about the sound. The buttons moved over here to seat 3. Limp.
The amazing glowing hat.
Yep. 4-way action here. $40 pot. Ace,
2 pair for
6
George.
deuce, yep. Acey Deucey suited there.
Uh-oh,
Dave.
but Jay's flopped this. Oh, no, he's not. I'm sorry.
Oh, you thought he had flopped the wheel?
I did. For a second, I got excited.
But Jay's going to come out and bet the wheel draw, though, Dave. He bets about $20. And George is going to raise it up. He's going to make it $150. Sylvester doesn't have anything. And everybody folds.
Take it down, Greek Poker God.
Yep.
It's amazing. We have a huge technical staff here. You'd think they'd get this sound right, huh?
He's going to come around and kill you, Dave. And I'm not gonna be sitting here.
I wasn't talking about. I'm not talking about Isaac. Clearly, I'm talking about the rest of the people that work here.
Oh, I see. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, those guys.
Button moves over here to seat 4.
Pocket queens here for George. George is getting hands left and right here. And he's going to raise it up to $125. But seat 1, Iman, has got ace king. And this could get hairy. And he's going to smooth call.
Yep.
And Chaz is going to call with jacks. Jack 8, offsuit.
So we know that I think one of the 2 or the aces or kings are dead here. So George is in pretty good shape.
Yeah, pot's $450.
And look at Jazz with the Jack 8. Unbelievable. And here we go. And George is out of position here, Dave. And the flop comes Jack 8-4.
Wow.
And is George going to be able to get away from this? Because you know Jazz is really deep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jazz has flopped top 2 pair. Take a look at this hand, folks.
Wow, and this pot is about $400 already.
All right, George is going to bet here. He bets $250 here, Dave. Little over half the size of the pot. So it's about $650 now. Well, can Iman he should really get away from the ace-king now, right?
Ace King it's a very overvalued hand in No Limit Hold'em.
Yep.
Especially if you play it the way he's played it, where he just called pre-flop.
Right.
You know, he has no idea where he's at. I mean, George could have Ace Queen, George could have Ace Jack, or George obviously could have Queens.
Right.
And you don't know where you're at. But with a player behind you, Ace King is you know, it's garbage right now.
He's going to fold, and let's see what Jazz does here. Funny, if Jazz said all in right now, what would George do?
Oh, I don't know.
620.
Oh, he's going to raise it up here, Dave. He makes it 620.
He makes it 400 more.
Yep. It's actually the bet on the flop was 220 there by George.
So the pot is now $1,200.
Yep.
400 to call.
1,200, 400 to call.
Now George might come over the top on him here. And this is interesting.
Well, the funny thing about George, it's just tough when you're in a spot against a player that might just be doing this with, say, you know, Jack 5 suited. Something like that, you know?
And the only thing is, Jazz had Queen 3 before, and he kind of played it check call.
He was
mode.
out of position.
The problem with those, if Jazz actually had Ace Jack, though, he would play it this way, wouldn't he?
Right, or maybe King Jack or Queen Jack, for that
Yeah.
matter, right? And George looks like he's going to come back over the top here.
He is.
He's made it 800 more. Now the pot's 2,400, 800 for Jazz to call.
Wow.
And Jazz doesn't look pleased.
How much you bro left?
And he's asking George, how much do you have left here?
I'm all in, too.
And he's going to move all in here, Dave. He's moved all in. It looks like at least another 6,000.
Yeah, and he's got George covered here.
Yep.
And George has got a little decision to make here. George has had $3,000 going into this pot, so he's got another.
I think he's got about 1,700
That's a
left
good guess.
there. Actually, more than that. I think it's about 2,000 with those purples. Let's say it's about 2,000 here, Dave. If he moved all in for another 2,000, the pot would be about 4,400, 2,000 a call, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yep. So $4,400
Well, he had
pot.
raised another 800, and then
Yeah.
obviously Jazz calls at 800. That would make it up to 2,800.
So it's actually
It's more like 4,800.
$4,800 pot, 2,000 a call here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I see George getting away from this now.
Well, this is one of those things where you got to go, man, I know Jazz is a crazy player. The problem with Jazz is he could be in there with Jack 4. He could be in there with pocket 4s, pocket 8s, pocket Jacks. How do you know what he has? Now, if he had pocket Jacks, he might have raised pre-flop.
And if it gets to this point when he calls, I don't think Jazz is going to run it more than once here when he's ahead.
That's what he said before.
Yep.
He said, I only run it more than once when I'm behind.
Yep. So again, $4,800 pot, 2,000 a call. It's just so hard against some players that are unpredictable.
You got a pair yet, Jay?
Because you just don't know. And look at that. George says you got a pair yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take a look at Jazz over there.
Yeah, let's see. Sometimes you can look at a player and see if he's relaxed.
Yeah.
And I think he knows he's ahead at this point. If George had if George had, a set or 2 pair here, I think he would have called a lot quicker.
There we go. Pick and pick.
The way George has played this hand, you pretty much put him on aces or kings, you know?
Definitely has an overpair.
Now, George has got outs, obviously. If a 4 comes out, his 2 pair will be higher.
Cool.
And he calls, Dave. He's going to make the call. He's going to make the call, and Jazz is ahead here with Jack 8.
And this is a big, big pot, folks.
And here we go to the turn. Turns an ace. And they haven't turned their cards over yet.
No, he needs an ace or a 4 or a queen.
And the river's a 3, and Jazz is going to take it down there with 2 pair. Jack's up.
And Jazz double. And wow, look at that. George goes broke just like that.
Just like that.
Oh.
Just like that, the Greek poker god. And Jazz definitely has him covered there, Dave.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. And it's interesting.
And look at him laugh.
Almost like a demonic laugh there.
Right.
And it's interesting. You said it yourself. You said if somebody else had made this move on George would have rethought it and might have even gotten away from queens.
Right.
But Jazz could have anything.
Right.
For 125 of that shit, huh?
Sorry, man.
But he certainly showed a lot of strength. I mean, you think of what he did there.
Put you on a 7
He
like
raised
that.
him.
I'll put you on a 7 like
George
that.
bet,
8, man?
Jazz raised, George re-raised, and then Jazz moved all in. I mean, that's suggesting strength. A lot of strength.
I mean, this is the type of issue that you talk about as Jazz takes down a pot. of about $8,000. That's a really big pot for this game. Huge. These types of issues when they talk about when people always ask us, how much bankroll do you need for this game? And if you're going to play poker day in and day out as your only job, you're going to have, especially if you're playing no limit hold'em, you're going to have pots like that hand, Dave. And you just can't be in there with all your money on the table. Or say you can't have more than, say, I would say at any time you wouldn't want more than 10% of your bankroll on the table at one time.
No,
right?
well, you think about it there.
Yeah.
George is a very good player. He's a professional poker player, right?
Yeah.
Had the best hand, played it right, maybe overcalled there, maybe overplayed it at the end there, but it's really tough against Jazz. I can't give him too much fault there. But, he just lost $3,000 like that. If his bankroll was $8,000, that would be devastating.
Yeah.
I said that I'm going to make a shitty call.
Wow.
Unbelievable. We got an email here by JetsFan31, Dave, and we'll get to that. Or actually, this is a post on 2+2. Get to that after this hand here. We got pocket queens over there for seat 1.
Pocket queens for Iman.
Yep.
And interesting here, Sylvester's got 6s, but he's not going to play it.
We got a raise here by seat 4. It looks like it might be pocket aces over there.
That looks like it is. You're right.
Wow, we got another big hand here. Aces against queens. Pre-flop here, and it is. Kirk has got pocket aces. Oh, and Iman, excuse me, he had queen jack. I'm sorry. I thought it was queens. That makes a big difference, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
small difference.
Yeah.
Technicality.
Yeah.
So what does this Jets fan post?
He says, I understand the variance aspect of running it multiple times, but can you guys explain what the normal standard for deciding when you run it multiple times? I mean, do you decide after both guys have seen each other's hands before the cards are turned? Well, basically, it doesn't really matter, Dave. You can do it beforehand, you can do it afterwards.
The only limitation to it is obviously the casino that you're playing in has to allow it.
Right.
And all the money, both players have to be all in.
Yeah.
There can't be any more betting.
Yep.
No, I didn't have a set.
Well, George, let's get back to that hand real quick here. George says, I don't put you on a set, Dave. So if he said that maybe, let's say he had 2 pair, okay? He was getting 2-1 on his money with 2 cards to come. How much of a dog would he be there?
Well, you got to think on the first shot, he has 2 queens.
Right.
Plus 3 4s. So he
Right.
has 5 outs then.
Right.
And then he picks up an additional 3 outs on the turn.
Yeah.
So he's got 5 outs and then he has 8 outs. Which, I mean, maybe he's
at least a 70% dog, right?
Oh, by far,
By
yeah.
far.
Definitely.
But probably
I mean,
more
you
like...
think about it, a straight draw is 8 outs 2 times.
Right.
Is about 30%, 32%.
Right.
So
Right.
that's 5 outs and then 8 outs.
Now the pot is limped around. Now, that doesn't end the question. We'll finish it after this hand.
I mean,
Because you can't obviously always put the guy on 2 pair.
Right, you're probably looking at it, if you put him on 2 pair, you're probably looking at it like a 77-23%. You're probably looking 23%.
Turn is a 10 here. It got checked around on the flop. And we're going to play George's hand in the dark here. He's pissed. He's not putting his cards up.
Because you're a player, man. I'm afraid. You're in.
Yeah, I think George, after George hits a bad beat,
Yeah.
he thinks there are like little demons in the camera.
Now we have a bet here on the turn by Jazz with a gut shot. And Iman calls with the gut shot as well. King, queen against
Wow,
queen,
there you
jack.
go. And Jay has the best hand.
Jay's in there with the 10. The river's an ace, and Jay's hand is good here.
Yeah, if you're Jay, you gotta love that ace in the river, huh?
I'm sorry.
Gotta love the ace in the river.
Let's see if this one just gets checked down here at the end.
Yeah, I tell you, if I'm Jay, I throw a little bet in there. There's no way, if these guys checked me twice, that one of them has an ace.
Well, actually, though, Iman is going to bet 150.
I don't like that either.
And look at that, though. Jay folds because of the ace.
Wow.
Wow. Well, if you look at it, though, Dave, I mean, he can't really beat any 10 out there, right?
Right.
Any real 10 he couldn't beat.
But I gotta be honest with you. I mean, it's a really strange thing because you're looking at it going, would a player bet a 10 at a position? I don't know.
No.
I find that hard to believe.
Now, what I was saying is that if we said that, say, the odds were anywhere 75 to 80% if the guy had 2 pair,
Right.
or whatever it was. But the issue is how often you put that guy on 2 pair. If you say that he only has 2 pair 50% of the time, and then the other 50% of the time he has a lone jack, well, you're getting 2-1.
Well, then you also look at the set too, set possibility as well.
Well, right, but that all has to be figured in. But if you think there's at least half of the time that you're ahead there with your queens, you're a huge favorite, obviously.
Right,
Against,
right.
you know, just like something
King
like King
Jack,
Jack or
Ace
Ace Jack. So, you know, he's getting 2-1 on his money. If you figure the odds out and you put the guy 50%, he's got 2 pair. 50%, he only has a Jack and have him beat. Well, maybe it is the correct call, though.
Yeah.
8-way action here, limped around. King 6-5. Looks like someone's got King 5 over there.
Yeah, that's Jay there.
Jay, yep.
Jay Johnson. You know, when I keep hearing Jay Johnson, all I can think of is Jack Johnson.
Real slow playing with these people.
And Jay's going to bet here, top and bottom.
Jazz has got King as well. See if he gets himself in trouble here.
Jay's going to bet 100 here into about an $80 pot.
2 clubs out there, but nobody has clubs.
Oh, my Lord, not Jay.
And Jazz is going to call there.
$80.
It's actually an $80 bet. So he bet the pot. Now the pot's $240.
And Jazz is in trouble here.
Jazz is in big trouble. He would need running cards here, Dave.
Yeah.
Turns a 4. Well, he's got a gut shot now.
He needs a 3 here.
Third club there on the turn. Jazz checks.
Run it 5 times.
And without a club
Look
in
at
your
this.
hand,
Jay checks right behind him.
that's just terrible. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to bet that.
And the river's an 8.
To a man that said he had a flush draw. I got 2 pairs.
And Jay's going to check it down there.
You can't just automatically be scared of the flush card there, because
I
Yeah.
had a king, man.
I wonder if Jay just had if Jazz had a 2 of clubs in his hand.
Yeah.
You're giving him the free draw.
Yeah.
Bam! There it is.
Man.
I didn't bluff you, man.
You know, we talk about sometimes,
What can I do?
you know,
What can I
you
do?
can check the turn.
Bet I'm gonna call you.
If you have a club in your hand and the third club comes, if you have a high club, and give that free card away, because if a fourth club comes, you're good. But if you don't, you really do want to bet the turn when a 3. You know, if your flush card hits on the turn and it's a third suit, you really want to bet there. And if you get check raised, well, then you can reevaluate if the guy has a flush. But checking behind there is really almost suicidal sometimes there, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
If you don't have that
Right.
that card in
unless you
your hand.
want to really, unless you're trying to induce
Induce
a
a
bluff,
right.
but then obviously you're gambling that
Yeah.
if the fourth club comes out there, or fourth, obviously, if any suit comes out,
Right.
you might be
I know
outdrawn.
you need a call one.
Pocket 9's here for Jay.
And he raised it up there to, I think, about 75, and it was a straddled pot by Kirk.
So this is now $225.
3-way action. Jay's got pocket 9s. He's in good shape. Only one overcard, King 7-3.
Well, they all have a pair now. 9's still in the lead, though.
So we said, what, it was about 225 pre-flop there? 100. And he's going to bet 100. He's
Kind of
betting
smells like a feeler bet, huh?
about half the size of the pot, and Kirk's going to call. Excuse me, Jazz is going to call, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's got second pair. Got a backdoor club draw.
You like him so much?
I checked.
Pot is now 425, and Jazz is checked in the dark.
Well, Jay will probably check behind him.
Turns a 4.
Yeah, I'm a better juggler. I'll check because I think.
Well, there you go.
Let's see if Jazz fires at it now, tries to steal it away.
I think that's all we need. Check it.
So check here on the turn, and here we go to the river. The river's a 10.
Good.
Well, I think this one's just going to get checked
Yeah.
down. Well, it's interesting to see there. I mean, like I said, Jay has definitely improved his game over the last year. But you can tell, though, it's sometimes he's almost like he's getting too scared sometimes there.
Well, I mean,
You know?
like we said before, maybe his game is good 80% of the time and 20%
Right.
of the time it's not good.
Right.
Well, tonight we're seeing the 20% time. Because so far we've seen him move all his money in with pocket 8s against Shaheen. It's how he's played the
Right,
table.
yeah, that's
We saw him play Jack. He had 2 pair before,
right.
but he checked it when the club came out.
Just 2 times now, huh? That's it.
I make top
Okay,
pair.
that's my turn.
Everybody.
Huh? Okay, thank you. No. That's the limit. Go to you anytime, man. No problem. For you anytime.
It's interesting if that last hand before, where obviously where Jazz won all George's money there. If Jazz only has a Jack, like King Jack, he's about a 4-1 dog.
Right,
And if he has 2 pair, he's about a 4-1 favorite.
right.
And if he has a set, obviously he's much bigger than that.
Well, the thing is, though, if he already has 2 pair, he's about a 3-1 dog. But if he only has a Jack, talking about George. Let's
Yeah,
get to
George.
the
Yeah, he's about a
second hand.
3.5 to 1,
Yeah.
somewhere out in that range.
We got a couple of ace queens in here. 7-way action.
And an ace deuce suited though.
Yep. And here we go.
How did the ace come out anyway?
Wow, look at that. Ace 10-5. So let's see if Jazz gets in trouble here. And the pot was limped around here? And actually, you know what? Seat 5 raised it up a little bit with 10 jacks suited for $30.
Little pot sweetener, huh?
Yep. It was a $210 pot. Now Jay is going to bet here. Looks like 100 with ace queen. And look at Hob. He's got ace queen too, but he's got all these people behind him. All these people behind him.
Hob doesn't play that many hands, but when he plays them, he plays them pretty hard. And I
Right.
imagine a raise is coming here.
And he's going to raise it. He's going to make it 300. Now Jazz really needs to get out of the hand. Well, it looks like he's going to.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I mean, for an action player, Jazz, I like his game so far.
Well, now Jay's got those chips behind him there. Pot's about $610.
I believe you.
Now, it's a raised pot, but it's not raised that much. It's only raised $30.
Second hand I've played today.
Yes, that's right.
He's made it 200 more. Again, it's about 610, 200 to call. Both players have the same hand.
And that's what you gotta be looking at. You gotta, I mean, Hob just said, he goes, I've only played 2 hands in the last hour.
Right. Really puts tough, you know, it puts Jay in a tough spot here, out of position against a solid player here, where you almost think that, you know, boy, he might have just smooth called with ace king. If he had ace 10, he's got me beat. If he has a set, he has me beat. I can really only beat ace jack. Would he make this type of move with ace 9 or ace 8?
Right. Well, let's be honest with you. I don't think Hobbs has been in there with ace 9 or ace 8.
Yeah, Jay folds. I don't blame him there.
No, I 100%.
Now, I want to throw this out for someone. They can email us or post on 2+2 for the answer.
Please.
Because I'm still thinking in my head.
Go ahead,
The
think.
hand with George.
If I show one, I already know I got
Let's figure this out. If George was laying 2-1, getting 2-1 on his money, with
Right.
that call, with Jack 8 against Queens, and 50% of the time he puts Jazz on 2 pair, and 50% of the time he puts Jazz on a Jack only. Is it the right call? Figure out the odds.
And a jack, not queen jack.
Right. Well,
But he would
but
make
the
it
queen
fair.
made no difference though.
Well, no, because the other card would be obviously for his outs.
Oh, yeah,
If Jazz
right.
had Queen
for Queen
Jack.
Jack. Excuse me. Right. You're
Which is
right.
actually a good holding.
King Jack or Ace Jack.
Or, yeah,
Or any lone jack, say
Jack
Jack
10,
7,
whatever, right.
something like that, against 2 pair. Figure out what are the odds, you know, what the odds are. How much is George an underdog against 2 pair, and how much is he a favorite against a single jack? And then the chances of, you know, Jazz holding that hand are both 50-50. No chance he has a set. And I want to see if getting 2-1, if it's the right call.
okay.
I mean, it's just a math problem, right, Dave? In the end, you know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
45.
And unfortunately for us, we have to follow the game. I'd love to do it out now. I just can't do it.
$45 raise here from Iman.
Yep.
Pocket 9s. And Tony's going to call.
Tony the Rock.
Yeah, Tony is a prop here, and he makes Shaheen look loose. I mean, definitely one of the tightest players in the game.
King 8-4 here.
Well, Tony's got second pair, and he's going to bet it.
40.
Well, if Iman is, you know, I would lay down pocket 9s to Tony right here. But he's going to make the call. And we're heads up. Turn is a jack. It's another overcard. And he goes check, check, and the river's a 4. And check, check, and pocket 9 is going to take it down there. And there it is.
Small blind button, please.
You cannot talk on the phone here, right? You cannot be on the
Button's going to move over there to seat 5.
I just want to make sure.
Small blind button. Last hand, the big blind. Small blind button.
Actions over there in C2. And of course, again, we haven't really seen him play since he won those hands early in the show. Ace Jack offsuit, Iman limps in here from seat 1. We've got a pot limped around 5 ways. King 8-8 on the flop. It's a $50 pot. No one has a king. No one has an 8. It's missed everyone. It gets checked around. The turn's an ace. Now Iman has the best hand with ace-jack in seat 1. He checks it. Gets checked around again. And the river's a 3. See if anybody wants the pot. And Imani's going to bet here with the ace-jack on the river. He is not going to be called by anyone. And he's going to take it down. So there you go. And I got to tell you, Kirk has been playing remarkably quiet tonight. I thought that he'd be more in the game from what I saw of him when I was playing with him earlier today. Well, already I have a post here there from somebody, Sykes here, that said Jack 8 against Queens is about a 73 to 27% favorite with 2 cards to come. So again, if you want to figure the equation out, you can figure out how much of a favorite Queens would be over something like King Jack or Ace Jack or say, Jack 7 or Jack 6. And then figure out if both of those hands are 50-50 likely, if getting 2 to 1 on the river would be the right call there. And that is because George said that he completely dismissed Jazz from having a set. Now we had a raise here, I believe it was by Sylvester, pocket 9s. And we've got 3 callers. It was about a $75 raise. And we've got 4-way action. And look at this pot. Queen, deuce, deuce. Kirk is flop, trip, deuces. And Kirk is going to bet right into it. He's going to move all in. He moves all in right away, hoping that somebody hit that queen, or that maybe someone has an overpair. Sylvester folds, Tony folds. And he's going to win about a $300 pot there as everyone folds. And Kirk said that he thinks he played bad there by betting right into the deuces, but that's a play that Dave and I are usually a fan of, betting right into trips. Fortunately for him, no one had a queen there to pay him off. I got to tell you, if Tony has a queen there, ace-queen in that case, I think he makes the call.
I got to say, I love the play by Kirk there. I mean, it's just one of those times where, unfortunately for him, nobody had an overpair.
Right.
And nobody had a queen.
Right. Again, you can email us, live@thebike.com, or follow a thread on 2+2. Go to 2plus2.com, spelled out, click on forums. World Poker Tour, another... Oh, excuse me. Look at that. I say that automatically sometimes, Dave. Texas Hold'em. Pot limit. Mid and high stakes pot and no limit Hold'em section.
There you go. Button is in seat 7. That's Jay.
Pot was limped around, and we've got 6-way action.
Now, George has decided to limp in an early position. Actually, it was in the big blind. I'm sorry. Big blind, and decided not to raise with ace-king.
Sometimes people will try to do that and pick up the limpers, Dave.
Yeah, and now Kirk, he has no idea where he's at, obviously.
Kirk is actually in the hand, but he's got king 6. We don't have it up there because it's cards. I think he's got king 6 of hearts over there in seat 4.
Amazing. Tony decided not to bet that in late position. He's last to act, and he didn't bet second pair on the flop.
All right, let me see that.
Well, now he's going to bet. Tony, check the 9-10. Now he checks.
And look, let me steal it. Why didn't he do that on the flop, though?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's buy my card. Oh,
And he takes it down. Well, Tony, he's pretty tight, obviously. He's one of the no-limit hosts here. He works with Mo.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes you see somebody on a different day, and you go, man, I thought he was really tight, and then he turns over 6-8 or 4-5, and you go. And sometimes you just catch different players on different days, and you never know. They just kind of mix it up that day.
And look at this. Barry Wood says he's going to play next Wednesday, Dan. That's
next
great.
Wednesday, great.
Wednesday and Friday.
Super.
And I got to tell you, I mean, I told him that the way that those guys play and a lot of their inexperience, he's just as good as a lot of those guys on the table there.
Although last night's game was actually a a little bit better than previous games, right?
Yeah, you're right, and it was funny because it was interesting to see Mike Wu loosen his game up when there were players on the table, when there weren't those players on the table that say were the weaker ones like an Ed, where you just play straight forward and win.
He
really
was probably the
loosened his
most
game
aggressive
up.
on the table last night.
And we hadn't seen that before. We got a raise here by Sylvester. King Jack offsuit. Made 65 to go, and he got 3 callers.
Hey, when you're playing with calling stations, you really got to play straightforward, don't you?
Yeah. So 65 times 4, $260 pot. Sylvester's the pre-flop raiser. Here we go to the flop. Well, there's the king. King, deuce, deuce. And look at this. Jazz has got a king now, too. Is he going to get involved? Sylvester's got him out-kicked. And Jazz is going to bet right into it. He bets 100.
100.
Right into Sylvester. And Sylvester's going to raise it up to 200.
See, you bet right in. If you had a deuce there,
Yeah, exactly.
same difference.
Yeah.
You bet your king, you bet your deuce.
And I don't think Sylvester has many chips left there in seat 5. Maybe 300 left.
Yeah, Jazz is in kicker problems here. Jazz needs a queen, a king, or an ace to chop
Yeah.
it up, or a 3 to win it.
Right. Well, the pot now is about 560. It's 100 to call, and Sylvester's got about 200 to 300 left in his stack.
This is one of those times, though, even for $100, can't you look at it and go, there's no way I can beat you.
And Jazz is going to move all in here with the king 3, and he's in bad shape.
I was about to say, I was like, you can actually, just for $100 more, you can actually lay your hand down,
Right.
knowing there's no way my king 3 is good here.
Yep. And it looks like Sylvester has
85.
All right, let's see.
he's got 280.
280 more total, so we're looking at $560, about $1,000 pot total
Yeah.
now.
Turn is a 6 of hearts, and the river is a queen.
Oh, and they're going to chop it up.
Wow, look at that. The queen saved him at the end there, Dave.
Yeah, they both have kings and deuces, so the queen kicker.
Unbelievable. Chop that baby up.
And Jazz had a lot of outs there. I mean, he had 4 aces, 4 queens, and 1 king
Yep.
tied. And obviously 3 threes to win the pot.
Before the flop, 65.
And chop it up.
Chop it up. Jazz has got the luck of the Irish on his side tonight, huh, Dave? The little angel on his shoulder.
Yeah, Jazz.
Yeah.
Seems like sometimes a lot of these action players that are like, action and they play any 2 cards,
Yeah.
they seem like oftentimes they are very lucky. Obviously, I know it all evens out in the long run.
Right.
I got to see Mo today. Congratulations to Mo for finishing in 4th place in the Bellagio tournament, taking in about $50K.
Slice pedals.
Said he actually played in today's tournament as well.
Really?
Got knocked out in the first 10 minutes.
Well, the way that Mo plays now, I got to say that it was probably a pretty big hand that he went out on with. Then obviously, I mean, he's not the type.
Yeah,
that's
he
gonna-
actually said he got out. He had ace king with the king of diamonds, and the flop came out ace 10-3 with all diamonds.
Yeah,
And he had the king of diamonds.
that'll get you bust sometimes.
And he went bust literally 10 minutes into the
What a guy,
tournament.
some have like bottom 2 pair or something.
No, somebody actually had a flush.
He flopped
He
a
said,
flush.
yeah.
Now we got a raise here. I believe
200 more.
by seat 2. He's got pocket kings, and that is
Shaheen.
Shaheen, the tightest player on the table. The pot was straddled. He's going to raise out of the big blind, and he's going to take it down. No one's going to play with him there. Iman does not call with ace queen. I mean, sometimes the only thing that you can say about really tight players like Shaheen, I mean, I have never seen Shaheen mix it up. We always talk about people being tight like a Dr. Beebe. Well, sometimes now he mixes it up. But if you see Shaheen enter a pot, I mean, isn't the best way to eliminate the fact that he always has an advantage because he's coming in with better pre-flop hands is just not to play with him?
Of
I
course.
mean, doesn't that eliminate
But-
the advantage?
You know what? Why should he mix it up, though? Because he still gets called. I mean, think about it. He had kings before, and Jay Johnson had 8s. Yet Jay Johnson decided to call him all in.
I'm just saying, I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the best strategy to go after C2, right?
course.
Just not get involved.
Why do I want to get a hand with him?
Right.
Unless I had the absolute nuts, what's the point of it?
Raise.
I'm not going to give him action.
Now we get a raise out of the big blind by Jazz that had been limped around. He's going to raise with ace-8 of hearts.
And Hobbs going to play his third hand of the day now with pocket sevens.
We got three-way action, and Kirk is in there with 6-7.
And the pot is...
And here we go to the flop.
Well, there's an ace.
Yep. Ace, 9, deuce. Pot's about $210. Shaheen's going to bet 100. And let's see what Hob does here. And Hob's going to fold it.
Take it down, Jazz.
Yep.
Shows the ace as well.
I figured you probably had an ace there, Jay.
And as soon it is.
Tell me what your cards are next. I'll tell you what the flop's going to be.
I think George is still bitter. Dave.
Yeah, well, he'll be bitter for a couple of days.
Hey, go. Take this one, please.
There he is. Bitter George.
Yep.
I mean, it's tough sometimes when you're playing against guys like that, or Corporation Mike, or, Patrick. Everybody remembers Patrick. Those guys will play any two cards, and will call you with any two cards. And they give you action as well. It's just tough sometimes.
Yeah.
First name? First day.
First day in the hotel?
Huh?
First day here?
First day here.
No? You guys? Well, we're going to chop.
And this one's going to get chopped around to the blinds. Button's going to move over here to C3.
Yeah, blinds are 5 and 10 in this game.
You have a peach, Jay.
No, I like that one. Somebody give it to me. The girl give it to me.
I wonder where it's been. Thank you, sir. I wonder where it's been.
Want to address this email, Dave?
Kyle Bobeldike.
Hey, maybe it's one of those.
A good guy.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Bobeldike?
I hate to do that.
I tuned in late to the program tonight. Haven't heard whether this is a cash game or a tournament. Could you tell me? Also, how many rebuys are allowed if this is a tournament? And what are the payouts? Thanks, Kyle. Well, thank you, Kyle, for your email. This is actually, we are live at the bike, and we do cash games, live cash games
That's
over
right.
the web, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9. And, well, in a cash game, you can rebuy as many times as you want.
It
You
is
can
a
also-
cash game.
You can also get up and leave. And if you're not quite sure the difference between cash games and tournaments, most of the stuff that you watch on TV, on ESPN, on World Poker Tour and so forth, those are tournaments. This is, I want to say, the first and only cash game out there right now, where we actually show it live to you, and you're actually seeing the whole cards. It's an interesting shot there.
Yeah.
Very artistic, thank you.
Shot of our main cage there.
Yeah.
Or actually the plaza cage. Button's moved over here to seat number 4.
But this is the bread and butter. I mean, most professional poker players actually make their living playing cash games.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, before the advent of sponsorship in poker, Dave, like the last 2 years,
Right.
I mean, you're very hard-pressed to find someone that says, I'm a tournament pro, and that's all I do, only with my money. I mean, it just doesn't
Even
really
today,
exist.
it's very rare.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
well, it's a little bit more. I mean, like I know there's Scott Fishman out there, Chris Ferguson, who only play tournaments. But if you talk to Freddie Deeb even says, there have been times where I've played in a tournament, and I've looked out of the corner of my eye and seen such a juicy cash game that I'll kind of toss off my chips just so I can get in the cash game.
We got 4-way action here. We had a raise by seat 3 with pocket 10s. He made it 45 to go, and he got called in 3 spots.
Well, he can't like the flop. Let's see what happens, though.
Well, he's in position, and he's going to bet. Gets checked to him.
Imagine he's going to take it down then.
Yep. There you go. We got a couple people away from the table right now.
Thank you, sir.
And that's another thing I would say with cash games. In a tournament, if you get up and take a break, you continue to get blinded off. In a cash game, you're allowed to take a little bit of a break.
Right.
Most casinos allow 15 minutes or so.
Right. Look at this. We had an email here from somebody in Belgium. Pesticide? Yeah, I don't know if that's a pesticide from Belgium.
I guess so. I didn't know.
He was wondering about the future of poker, about why do we use chips?
As opposed to?
I guess as opposed to some sort of easier electronic device. Maybe the future of poker would allow that to happen, but I don't know. I think chips is just something that people are used to in live cash.
I mean, I
live
suppose
cash.
you could have an electronic thing where you'd press how much you wanted in
Right.
there, and in the middle, the pot size would just say it. Electronically.
Isn't that kind of playing like online, though? I mean, look at this. Shaheen's got a set of 7s here.
But unfortunately for him, nobody's got a queen. But he's going to check
And he
it
doesn't
once.
bet. Turns a 5. George is open-ended now.
Yeah.
75.
And he's going to bet 75.
It might just be a time for George. Well, I was going to say, it might just be a time if you think Shaheen is full of it. Might you check or might you raise him? But once again, that's Shaheen.
All right, it's Shaheen. It's not like it's a player that's making a move here.
Exactly. And interesting question here from Sweden. What's the reason for not showing the whale game more often? And obviously, we like to show a little bit of a lot of different games, obviously, for all of our viewers. And we like to show $200 no-limit games. Sometimes we show limit hold'em. Sometimes we show the $1,000 game. And obviously the whale game. Also, a lot of those whale players, they like to play different games. They like to play a lot of mixed games, like Deuce to 7 Triple Draw and Stud and Omaha. And those games are a little difficult for us to actually show online.
Right. Those guys are actually only play no limit hold'em during the whale game on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You won't find those guys playing no limit any other night.
6-way action, limped around. It looks like George has got top and bottom here. Queen 4 on the button.
Queen 4, wow.
Queen 4 suited.
Plus, let's get the backdoor club draw just in case.
And we get a bet here, and George is going to raise it up. I think it was a $25 bet by Tony with a pair of 6s. And look at Jazz. He's going to call with ace-6. And, oh, boy, if he hits another 6 or an ace here, Dave, this is going to be incredible.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
$300 pot here going
George,
to the turn.
George and erupting.
Turns a queen while George is filled up now.
Yeah, I think he's safe.
Let's see how he's going to play it. He's going to bet here. He's going to bet 225, and Jazz.
Pushing all in right now.
Because I had a straight draw, so I don't want to do it anymore. Queen king. That's the best I can do.
Well, it's a good thing that George can let it go. You know,
Right,
that's
right.
important. You know,
No, queen coming small.
learn from something and then move on.
He's got a little bit of a
Let's get
steamer.
thrown away. You made me straight.
I wish you made it straight. I was hoping you'd make it straight.
Button's moved over here to seat 2.
And it looks like everybody's limping in again. We got a little limpitis going on right now. And I want to say it's 6-way action right now. 5 players, actually. Sorry. So we got a $50 pot. And look at Shaheen. Shaheen has flopped quads.
On the button. He's got quads on the button.
Shaheen has quads. Might this be a time where you let somebody get there a little bit?
Well, it turns a queen, and,
There you
now,
go.
and Kirk has got a top pair now.
Yeah.
Seat 4.
One of the few times you might want to slow play a little bit.
Kirk's going to bet. Well, the thing here is you know that someone else doesn't have a 5. So might you just call here?
65.
And he's going to make the call. Shaheen makes the call.
Call the 65. We'll give you a discount.
65.
Heads up.
And I don't think Kirk looks too pleased here. The turn's a deuce. Now, the best card, obviously.
Oh, and
Did Shaheen just check it down there?
well,
at the end?
Shaheen said, "You're my buddy. I can't do it to you."
Oh. Now, the best thing that can happen, it's not like you flop quads often, Dave, is for that top pair on the turn or on the flop to pair up later on in the
Right,
hand.
obviously.
Yeah. Like if there was another queen on the river that came.
I mean, the best thing possibly can happen is you have quads on the button, and 3 players move in before it even gets
Well,
to you.
yeah. well, that's-
But yeah.
yeah.
Now, right now we have actually our Ho-Ho Hold'em tournament going on. Tonight's tournament is Limit Hold'em, $200 buy-in. Tomorrow night's tournament starts at 7:15 also, and that's a $200 buy-in pot Limit Hold'em tournament. And Saturdays and Sundays tournaments start at 4:15. And this Saturday is actually a charity poker event where your entry, actually, $20 from your entry goes against to MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
4 players.
Lived around here. 4-way action. Jack, Jack, 4.
Well, this is trips for Jazz.
Yeah.
Let's see who got what.
And Jazz is going to bet it. He's going to bet 25. And Sylvester, is he making a move here, Dave? He's going to call with ace-3.
Well, I think he is. I think.
And Imad calls with king-queen.
Well,
My goodness.
Well, that's what happens. You know, when you raise, when you bet
your trips,
when you
right?
bet your trips, nobody believes you got it.
Right.
100.
He's going to bet 100 here. And no one calls.
Jag is good, man, not fold.
You know what it is funny there? I mean, I actually think that maybe Sylvester put Jazz on a 4
Yeah.
and said, I'm going to make a move on this guy. But then the 4 came and he goes, I'll forget it. Shirley Rosario actually played last night's tournament. Last night was no limit hold'em, $200 buy-in with an optional rebuy, and she got knocked out just a little bit before the money. She said it just wasn't her night.
Jack on the floor, on the floor, so I get you.
And you know what? We're still chopped. That's how bad I'm on.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to hit the kicker on the
Pocket jacks here for George, and he's limped in, Dave. I don't necessarily know the way that this table's going the last couple of minutes if I'm going to limp in with a big pocket pair.
Especially in middle position here.
5 players.
I mean, now he has no idea where he is.
5-way action.
Flop comes out like 10-3. He doesn't know if he's ahead or behind.
King, deuce, 3, all clubs. That's not really a great flop for pocket jacks without a club.
Yeah, that's easy to get away from. But you know what I mean? I mean, let's see the flop comes. Let's look at Jazz's hand.
And Jazz bets with 9-3 with the 9 of clubs, and George calls. Wow. And Amon calls and Kirk calls. Turns a king, and Amon's got trips. George checks, Amon checks, and everyone checks.
And that might get George to lose a little bit of money here. Let's see what happens when Amon puts a little bit of a bet in there.
Well, George is going to bet 25 here.
Nice little blocker bet, huh?
Yeah, and Amon just calls.
Yeah.
And look at this, Jazz overcalls with a 3. With a pair of 3s. Jazz overcalls.
And that was a perfect example of a blocker bet there. That was clearly George was hoping he'd give a 25 in there, and that would be it. It wasn't a value bet. That's what he wanted to call. And I can't believe Amon didn't bet a little bit more. I mean, I guess he's scared of the clubs. When you do raise, obviously, in no limit, different from limit, if you raise in no limit, you do reopen yourself to a big, re-raise. So, gotta be careful.
I didn't know that the English swore so much, Dave. I was hearing all kinds of expletives over there out of seat 9.
I thought he was Greek. Greek? English? What is he?
Maybe he's exiled.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take anybody here.
And it's going to get folded around in the blinds. And they're going to chop it up. Tony and George.
You know what I mean, though? By limping in with jacks there, then Jazz stays in, okay, with 9-3.
Right.
The flop comes out 9-3 deuce. How do you know where you're at with jacks? You know, it comes out 9-3 deuce rainbow.
Well, it's that type of thing where we say if you're going to limp in with a pocket pair.
Don't go broke.
With what you're trying to limp re-raise with. You've just got to value. You can't take a lot of heat.
Right. You're looking to flop a set or get rid of it.
Well, I'm just saying that if you don't get the limp re-raise in, if it just gets limped around, I mean, yeah, you put a feeler bet out there, but if it's almost like if you put a bet and you get raised, you really shouldn't get involved. You know?
Right. Especially, I mean, blinds could have anything. Who knows?
Right.
What's you playing now? 5,000?
Any 2 cards.
Yeah, a little bit over.
I'm okay. Still not gonna broke me.
Mama always said, don't go broke in an unraised pot.
Break me, more leg.
Sylvester has raised here to 30 with 8-5 suited. He's going to get called in 3 spots. We've got a $120 pot going 4 ways.
Little pot sweetener. These flop trips. No, I'm not.
10, 6, 8. Not quite.
Yeah,
but
I
he's got a
wanted
pair.
flop trips there, but he didn't.
Try that shit again, though. I got the nuts.
Well, Kirk looks like he has the best hand with Jack 8. But Sylvester's going to bet.
75 is that.
He's going to bet 75 here.
Yeah, good.
And it's interesting. There are hands that I call raises with. Like George has 3-4 clubs. Okay, small raise, why not? Iman, even 4-6 of hearts. Okay, maybe. But Jack 8 offsuit.
Oh, come on, yes, sir. He's bet 75.
But then again, Jazz won an $8,000 pot with Jack 8 offsuit. So what do I know?
Kirk is going to fold it. He's going to fold the Jack 8. And,
hey, the aggressor is usually rewarded in no limit hold'em.
Yeah. And there you go. Well, Dave, if you're trying to find out, you're trying to figure out a Christmas present for a loved one of yours,
Yeah.
How about a subscription to the archives?
That's a good idea.
Just $14.95 gets you all the saved action. Check it out by clicking on the archives banner on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. I mean, you've got episodes with Barry Greenstein, Kathy Lieber,
Greg
Paul
Raymer.
Darden.
I mean, we're talking
Greg
1,600 hours of content.
Absolutely. Check it out. All the access to every single show we've ever done.
Now. Look at Jazz there. Up to 9,300.
Another
Wow.
chip count here.
George is actually rebought 5,400. He's pretty much
Down
probably-
about 3,000.
yeah, maybe down about 2,000 total. Because he built that 2,000 up a little bit.
So Jazz is probably the big winner, right, so far?
Yeah, Shaheen actually is doing very well as well.
Yeah. And we've got over $20,000 on the table.
Got a small blind right here.
Jay, if I call you, should I get a raise?
Hey, bet on the car, brother.
Button's going to move over there to George in seat 9.
Stupid ass question, just have nothing to do with this ass. I don't mean anything. He raises with nothing.
We got a straddle by Jazz.
So basically it becomes a $20 to enter the pot
And
now.
look at this. Tony just calls with ace-queen. Usually you like to loosen up with your raises, Dave, and straddle pots. He's going to call from
I
up
mean,
front.
ace-queen offsuit, I don't really want to take that multi-way, do I?
George just calls. So sometimes, obviously, you are raising to try to drive out some people, right?
Well, I mean, ace-queen
Yeah.
offsuit, there are some hands that you want a lot of players in there with. Ace-queen offsuit is not one of them.
10-5-3. Jazz has the best hand here with king 3. It's an $80 pot.
Now, George has got a wheel draw.
Now, Jazz is bet. He bets 50.
And at least, Tony, if he's going to play ace-queen that way, at least he gets rid of it. We've seen so many times people limp in with ace-queen and then call with a board like this.
And there you go. I mean, George is pretty deep, so he's going to try to spike that 4.
And he's actually in great shape here. I mean, a 4 or an ace would do it for him.
But and the turn is a 9. Can he use the heart as a bluff card?
He might be able to. Remember, Jazz only has a 3. He's got bottom pair.
Does have the king of hearts, though. And I think it went check, check, and the river's a heart.
Yeah, and Jazz has got the king of hearts in his hand, so he's in good shape here.
200.
And he's going to bet 200 here.
Wow.
Wrong color, man. Right color, wrong suit.
And George folds.
I had one of those.
And I think he showed the 3 there, Dave.
Yeah. He had him the whole way.
Yeah.
Actually, on Saturday, our Ho Ho Hold'em tournament, which starts at 4:15, you get a free entry with a new unwrapped toy, as long as the toy has a $10 value or higher. Bring your receipt. You can check out all the tournaments if you go to thebike.com and you click on tournaments. And then on Saturday, December 10th, a really exciting event, we've got our No Limit Hold'em $200 multi-rebuy No Limit Hold'em tournament with a $100,000 guarantee, and we are giving away to every person who enters this tournament a poker pads. Kind of cool little thing here. Check it out.
Great. Yeah, but they're
It's
stiff, man. Too stiff.
really cool.
But they're easier to squeeze.
There it is. Thank you. And it's actually the same thing as here, where you can, if you're at home, you're playing on the internet and stuff. It's a mouse pad. Plus you can, where is it? There it is. Thank you.
5 players.
Plus you can, practice playing chips on it and stuff.
Yeah, check it
It's kind
out.
of cool. And if you can't make it down here and you want to play, you can actually go to liveatthebikes.com and click on the Poker Pads ad and buy one.
Pot was limped around here. Jazz has got top pair with queen 4, queen 10-8 on the flop. He's going to bet 50.
Pot has been raised.
And Sylvester is going to raise here with a spade draw.
to 100.
He's got ace-6 of spades.
What you got, man? I gotta broke you because.
Let's see what Jazz does here with the queen 4.
How much you have, bro?
He's going to make the call.
4 more.
Sylvester just made a minimum raise, and the pot is now 250 going to the turn.
Well, let's see if Sylvester takes a free card down the turn.
Turns a 5. He doesn't have that much, and he does. He does take the card there, Dave. And the river's a spade, and he gets there. And it's a 1-card straight there. Anyone with a jack would have a straight. And Sylvester's going to move all in here. And he's just not going to get the action there.
And that's sometimes a reason why it's kind of a limit hold'em play to raise in position with a draw and then take the free card on the turn.
Right.
But it can be used effectively in no limit as well sometimes.
Now, Dave, you were
Sometimes I
telling
do the
me
feeling too.
what happened with Bobby Belande at the end of the show
Jean
last
Robert
night.
Belande?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually took a bad beat. He lost a big pot where he had an overpair, and somebody rivered 2-pair on him, and lost a big pot. Lost about a $16,000 pot in that
Yeah.
one. Ended up losing. He built his stack up to about 25 grand and lost it all.
Hey, and we try to bring, we try to be as honest as possible with everyone out there. I have to admit, I had always heard that guy was somewhat of a cocky, I want to say, a-hole.
Right.
But you and I both talked with him after the show, and he was pretty straight up, nice guy.
Yeah, he
and
was.
We actually told him that we kind of made fun of him with his drink, but he didn't really care, obviously.
Check out this flop for Hav. What a flop. It's like a once-a-week flop there.
Yeah.
He got top pair with a good kicker and a pretty good flush draw.
Yep. And Hav is going to bet 50 here. Wow, and Jazz is going to call with bottom pair. And Kirk is in there with middle pair. And if these guys hit their 2-pair, it better not be a spade.
Right.
Turns a deuce.
Well, now Jazz has picked up some outs here.
And so does Kirk. They have each other's outs.
They both have straight draws now. Obviously can't be a spade again.
And again, Hab's real tight.
140.
He's going to bet 140 here, Dave.
Now, when Hab's betting that, you got to kind of figure he's probably got a pretty good hand here, huh?
Oh, you got to at least think he's got, King Jack, Ace Jack. And look
Yeah.
at this, he's rolling on spades here. And he's going to call. Jazz is going to call.
And if Jazz beat him here, this would be a really, really bad beat. I mean,
Yeah.
Jazz would need a 5.
The pot's about $500 here right now.
Yeah.
About 140 to call.
Jazz needs a 5, a 3, or a 4, but it can't be a spade.
Yeah. And here we go to the river. And the river's the deuce of spades, and Hob gets the flush. I just don't think that Jazz can get into that much trouble here, though, can he?
No, probably not. I mean, that's a pretty safe card for him.
He checks.
You'd imagine he's going to go check and then...
Waited for your spade and then he checked.
Hob said you waited for your spade, and then you
If I
checked.
bet, you're gonna run away.
He's probably trying to induce a check raise then. On the river, it sounds like. He's got $500 in the pot. Let's see how much he bets
yeah,
here
I
for
mean,
value.
Jazz can't beat really anything here. I mean, if Hob was just betting on the spade draw, then he got there.
I think I had you. You hit your spade now, huh?
3 1/4.
He's going to bet 325 here,
Good hand.
and he's going to take it down.
And here, Jazz actually thought he had the best hand until the river. But he shows him the jack of spades.
But again, I mean, Jean-Robert Belande,
Yeah.
he came off as kind of a
I had a
cocky,
jack too, but I
almost like an unlikable character
Hey.
on the circuit event. That's how they portrayed him out to be. And then you had told me that you heard that he was kind of an ass from other players at the World Series, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, you never want to judge a book by its cover, but I honestly, I got straight up, I thought the guy was an ass. I thought the guy was a schmuck. And then
What?
I met him last night,
Yeah,
and I got to eat my words. He was a nice guy.
yeah.
He really was.
And believe me, we're not just saying that because we would tell you
No,
if we
and
thought he was
to be
a
honest
schmuck.
with you, he may
Yeah.
or may not be watching this. I have no idea. And
Right.
But he was a nice guy last night.
Yeah.
I talked to him for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. After he actually after he actually lost 20 grand, and he was still nice then.
Yeah.
I don't know that many guys that are nice after they lose 20 grand.
We had a raise here by seat 8 with Ace King. He made it. That's Hav. He made it 75.
Hop's
Excuse me,
crazy.
45.
He's a nut. He's raising every hand now. Look at this.
And we got 5-way action. Look at Jazz. He's getting there with 10-9 offsuit. And here we go. Deuce 4-4.
Wow, Amon has flopped a flush draw here.
And Sylvester in C5 has the best hand with an overpair.
Yeah, it's rare you get an overpair with pocket sixes, but
Yeah. Let's see if Hob makes a continuation bet. No, he checks it. And he gets checked around. Turns a jack, and now Kirk has the best hand.
100.
And he's going to bet 100 here.
yeah, Kirk's pretty straightforward from what I'm seeing here in this game. That's when he gets there.
Yeah. Pot's about 325, 100 to call. See what Amon does now with the flush draw. He's only going to see one card. Could he represent a 4 here, Dave? Obviously he could, right?
Definitely. I remember almost a very similar hand before. It was 5-5 blank, 5-5-6, and Shaheen had pocket 5. So, and it was actually Kirk who bet into it on the turn when he hit his pair, when he hit his queen, I think.
Okay, we're heads up.
And he
King
calls.
was exposed to player 9, so I'm going to open the hand. His king was exposed. I'm sorry?
And somebody exposed the hand by accident, so Greg's got to show the whole table.
To Hobbs' hand.
Okay, well,
Right.
I'm going to do that, man. I'm going to keep the game
I'll show
kosher.
everybody next time.
And here we go to the river. River's a 9, and Kirk actually has better two pair now. Jackson
Right.
9s.
Yeah, 3 pair obviously don't play. It's your best 5-card hand in Hold'em.
Right.
So he's got Jackson 9s and a 4.
But look at this, he checks. Is he afraid that Amon has a 4? And Amon bets 100 here at the end. And look at this, Kirk check raises him all in. I'm not sure about that move. Maybe he thinks Amon maybe has a jack here.
He never acted.
You know, it's funny. Like you said, maybe he's scared of the 4 there. And I didn't think Amon bet enough to get Kirk off the hand. But then the check raise, obviously he's not scared at all.
Right.
You had a 4, you could have busted me, but I didn't like that. I don't do shit like that. You're trying to pull a move.
Oh, and I think what happened was I think that he thought that they were going to check it down at the end, and then Amon bet, and I think Kirk's upset that Amon bet at the end. This is a game, buddy. I mean, I don't know what you're expecting.
I want you to think I was stealing. I'm trying to make you run away.
Kirk thinks he's right out of Sopranos. I mean,
yeah.
he thinks he is at least. I mean, that's hysterical. Look at him, he's shaking his head and everything. Can't believe that. How could somebody bet?
Motown.
Yeah.
Limped
Well,
around
it's funny
here.
though. He let his ego get involved there, and he check raised. Really dangerous there.
Well, I mean, you're check raising. I was going to say, boy, can you really only get called by a hand that could beat you here? But maybe if the guy had a jack. But would a guy bet a jack, though?
I don't think. That's what I mean.
I don't know, you know.
To me, you're either betting a 4 or you're betting a bluff.
Now look at this. Kirk's got ace king of hearts. He's going to raise. And Tony has ace king off suit. Let's see how he plays it.
Well, Kirk's all rattled, though. Maybe Tony thinks he's rattled, so he's steaming.
And we can see that. Look at that. 3 of the kings are dead. And 2 of the aces are dead. So probably neither one of these players will hit the flop.
Tony thinks about everything forever. He might be one of the slowest players in the world. Really nice guy, but I mean, he is just amazingly slow. I mean, if you were to get a tournament table with him, like Bill Gaze, Bob Stupak, you might see 4 hands in 4 hours.
Well, look at this. Hop's got pocket 5s. He's going to play.
And the raise is how much?
100.
100. So, wow. We're going to get some good
Look at
action
this.
here.
Jazz is in there with king 3.
Oh, well, Jazz
And
can't
George
resist.
is in there with 8-9. So we got a $500 pot. Kirk on the button, the original pre-flop raiser with ace king, but like we said, he's probably not going to hit the flop.
Here comes a 5. Watch. Nope.
Jack 6-4 with a couple of clubs. And look at Hob. His hand's good right now.
But how does he know it's good?
Pocket 5s.
Well, the only way he can figure out if it's good or not is to put some money in the pot.
I don't think that's really his style there, Dave. It's a $500 pot. Gets
Yeah.
checked around. Turns a 6.
Well, how
Now
about
do you
now?
bet with pocket 5s?
I mean, anybody with an overpair is going to bet that, aren't they?
And someone with the jack would have bet it too, probably, right?
Right.
250.
But look at this. Tony's going to come out and bet 250
Yeah,
here.
I don't believe it, though, unless he has pocket jacks. Pocket jacks is pretty much it, right?
Remember, though, Tony only smooth called Kirk's raise. So he could have something like...
Pocket 9s,
He
pocket
could
10s.
have ace jack, and maybe he was going to check raise or something like
Okay,
that.
okay, I'll give that to you.
And now, I mean, Tony using his
Image.
Image.
Tight image.
I mean, what can Hav do here with all the people behind him?
Well, the problem is everybody behind him, he showed weakness. You know, anybody on the button or one before the button, if they had anything, wouldn't have they bet it? They probably would have. I mean, look at that flop. 2 clubs out there.
Well, he's not going to get involved with it. And I think
Okay.
Tony might steal this one away from everyone.
I would imagine he will. I'm actually really surprised Kirk didn't try to bet that on the flop.
How could you check call 100? Pretty sure we put down the best hand.
Nice bet by Tony,
Yeah.
using his image. And we talk about that all the time in terms of tight players. It's okay to play tight if you know that and you use it to your advantage. You know?
Well, you got to think that if it got checked to Hav, he was going to bet the turn.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
And Hobbs even sitting there thinking, he goes, I was going to do that.
Would you You guys have any pair? No.
I did.
I had a pair?
I mean, no, I can't. You definitely can't blame Hobb for obviously laying that down. Pocket fives, a lot of hands would beat him.
The second nut there. What is that?
Nice bet though. He only bet $250 to win a $500 pot.
I mean, if we're playing Omaha, I get the second nut there. What is it?
Pocket queens over here for seat 2. Shaheen again, Dave. Boy, we want to give this guy action, right? Every time he enters the pot.
Yeah, he's got some big hands.
Seat 2.
Hobbs got ace-10 of clubs.
And look at this, Shaheen just limps with the queens.
In somewhat late position.
Let's see how he's going to play the overpair. It's going to get limped around.
I don't understand that.
6-way action.
$60 pot now. And now, how do you know where you're at?
Jack 9-9. Well, he can beat a jack. I mean, you have to be scared of someone with a 9 here, obviously. He's going to bet 45 here, Dave. See where he's at.
Okay.
But again, I mean, if somebody smooth calls you in position, or even if somebody just calls you, and look at this.
Jazz is calling that.
called with pocket fives.
Oops, sorry.
And I got to tell you, you know, against a player like Shaheen, if he checks it to me, I think I can take it away from here on the turn. Turn's at 10.
Probably.
Well, he's open-ended now.
Yeah.
He checks. And the river's a king.
Well, now he's
Jazz
got it
checked
straight.
behind him.
See how quickly Tony actually...
Look at this, Shaheen just shut down. Wow.
Wow.
Never even bet.
You see Tony there and see how quickly he gets rid of his Jack 3 on that flop.
Oh, yeah. Of
He
course.
doesn't even think about it. And tomorrow night's tournament, actually, the Pot Limit Hold'em tournament tomorrow night, you actually start with 2,000 chips. 30-minute rounds, and you get 2,000 chips.
And
And
that's
the
an
tournament starts at 7:15.
email here from Chad Nishan. Asked that question.
I believe they are giving you 10 times the amount of the buy-in. So $200 buy-in, 2,000.
Well, the levels are, I mean, they're not that long, but, I mean, that's better than getting 1,000 in chips, right?
Right, and it's 30-minute levels, not bad.
I mean, I remember in Legends, Dave, like for $500 tournaments, sometimes last year they were given like $1,000 chips with like 45-minute levels.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know,
Up to 80. 80 bucks.
we got a raise here on
I'm
the
actually
button.
a big fan of their mini-series of poker tournament because they give 10 times the amount for all those.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good tournament.
Tony raised here. Queen Jack suited from the button. He made it 80 to go. It was a straddled pot. Hobb is going to call in seat 8. We can't see what he has over there. Pocket fours.
It's weird. Tony has like a little, like, I'm not sure what the rhyme and reason is between like when Tony raised and when he did. Earlier, he had ace-queen in late position and decided to limp
Well,
in.
he was actually up front there with the ace
Was he?
queen.
Okay.
This time he's on the button, so a
Okay,
little bit
okay.
different.
I thought the ace-queen was in late position as well.
But he's not going to drive anybody out.
He builds up a nice little pot here, though.
Got about, we're going to get, see, 4 callers, $500 pot.
$500 pot, wow.
$400 pot,
400,
80
okay.
times 4.
Yeah.
Or 80 times 5, excuse me. So here we go to the flop. 7-6-6. Now let's see if Hobb comes out and bets. Although Jazz has the best hand. Jazz is going to bet, though. He's going to bet 200.
That's half the pot there. Pretty bad flop for Queen Jack of Hearts, huh?
Yeah, he's not going to get involved with it.
One down. 2 more to go now.
The only person that probably could get involved here would be Hobb.
Yeah, and he's in bad shape. He's got runner straight possibilities, but really he's got just 2 outs here. And Jazz takes it down. Nice bet by Jazz here. Once again, only betting half the pot to take it down.
That I can tell you guys.
You hear a lot of tournament pros, Annie Duke and so forth. They're always screaming, bet the pot, bet the pot. But I still maintain in a cash game, you want to bet the minimum amount that it takes to achieve what you want to achieve. Only risk what you have to risk.
I don't want it because if you have a big pair, I'm fucked.
And, you know, it's interesting. Some online sites now, Dave, feature tournaments which are called deep stack tournaments, where they start you with a ton of chips.
Really?
Yeah.
And the levels are how long there?
I mean, there might be extended levels or the same levels, but the point is, like, this tournament's going to take, say, 15 hours to complete. It's for people that want to enter a tournament with a lot of chips.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny, though, on the internet, you see so many more hands. That it seems like even when I start a tournament with 1,500 chips or 2,000 chips, it still feels like a lot.
Right. Now, I got checked around to Tony, and he's going to bet $10 as a bluff with deuce 4 suited. And look at this. Jazz calls with Jack Deuce. He's picked up a flush draw. Tony bets $10 again. Tony called the flop with Jack high. And he's going to check raise him. Tony bets 10 on the turn, and Jazz check raises him to 20.
I'm so generous, you know. I give you just 10
And Jazz is the best hand here. Tony is actually drawing dead.
Let's see what Tony does.
How much money you have over there?
I think Tony's going to fold.
Yeah.
Boy, that's comedy, Dave.
Yeah, this is good stuff. You can't write this, you know.
I wish 27, man.
That's why we continue to stay live and unscripted.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Tony's elixir of choice. You know,
Perrier.
Inebriated from Perrier.
Do we have a jackpot on this table?
Are you a big Perrier drinker?
You know, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show. I think I have. I never drank soda as a kid. I don't really drink carbonated things with the exception of beer. I couldn't do it when I was younger, so all soda and stuff like that is just nasty to me. I mean, carbonated water is just the most vile thing I could ever drink. I mean, that's just pure carbonation. Although I guess Perrier isn't that bad compared to, like, say, if you were to buy tonic or soda water in the grocery store. I think Perrier's lightly carbonated, isn't it?
He was just bullshitting, you know, 7. Oh, yeah.
Four-way action.
I was happy if he had a 7.
Limped around. King 10-7. Couple hearts.
Jay with the best hand here, second pair. Iman there with the open-ended straight draw.
Well, we haven't heard much from Jay at all. He bets $20, and Iman calls, and Jazz calls. Turns a jack. And now Jay's going to bet 50. He's open-ended with the 10.
But Iman's got it straight.
He did. He made the straight there.
Yeah, he was open-ended there, and the jack club's a perfect card there. It's not a heart. And he's in good shape here. But
he just called? Wow. And the river is a king. And he checks it, and Jay checks it. Guess he was scared of the bottom end of the straight.
Yeah, I mean, somebody could have had ace-queen, or somebody could have had queen-9, which are obviously bigger straights. But once again, why call? Why call with the bottom end of the straight and then play it so passively? I don't understand that.
Buttons moved over here to seat 9.
That's funny. We moved into this bigger production room a while ago, and we used to literally be in a closet, and the closet used to be like, I think about 120 degrees every single time we work there. But tonight, it is deathly hot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Man. And I'm usually freezing. But
I still think I wish we could have had the cameras in that old booth when Greg Raymer was doing.
We couldn't fit a camera.
When Greg Raymer was doing the guest commentary in there that night in February.
Dripping.
Oh, man.
He almost felt bad for it, just dripping away there. Tony here with pocket 9s. He's going to raise it up or just calling?
I think he raised it up there.
And he did raise.
I think he's going to take it down.
He's going to take it down there with a nice $80 raise.
Yep. There's Kirk.
Once again, we are live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10. You can watch us every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9.
That's right. You can
Tomorrow night's our big game, actually. 10-20, No Limit Hold'em.
And Dave, I think I'm doing a solo mission tomorrow.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a family function that I must attend.
I will be here alone. Limp here.
100.
A lot of limping going on.
Yep.
Oh, and Evelyn has just turned the fan on.
And
God bless her.
Tony has raised here with ace queen of spades. It's like $80.
Tony's mixing it up, playing some aggressive poker here now.
Well, and seat one's going to call with ace 10 of diamonds. He's dominated.
And
Sylvester's got pocket fours, and he doesn't have enough money to make the call. He folds.
yeah, throws it away. He's only got about $500.
Yep.
Gotta go with your feeling sometimes.
And here we go. Amon is dominated. Oh, what a flop for ace 10 of diamonds.
Yeah,
10,
dominated
7,
my ass.
3.
Look at that flop. Wow.
And it goes check, check.
And Tony is almost drawing. I mean, he's almost drawing dead here. And he's a queen. It's not a diamond. He's got 2 outs.
Show me what you got.
Turns a 3. And they said check it down. Are you kidding me? What are you looking for with ace 10 of diamonds? Damon.
Nice redrop out.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole. To me, it just. Why am I even playing poker? Why are you here? You know?
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I mean, if you're playing for fun, what's fun about, like, oh, I'm going to call your big raise, then just check it down when I outflop you? I mean, the worst thing, too, is you know if Tony's raising it to 80, you know that ace 10 of diamonds, you know that he has a superior hand to you. So if you get a lucky flop to it, why not, you know, make him pay?
Tony's a good guy. It's okay. We gotta get him.
Amazing.
Absolutely
Yeah, actually,
amazing.
tomorrow is my
Bring sometimes pussy too.
my wife, my in-laws, my wife's parents' 25th wedding anniversary is tomorrow. So they're having a little party at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Ah. The Polo Lounge.
Actually, I think it's the Palm they're having it.
But the Polo Lounge is in the Beverly Hills Hotel.
I think they have another one there or whatever. Another restaurant or another hotel. At least that's what the invitation said.
Well, the
But yeah,
Palm is a restaurant.
There is another one, but there's also, I think, there's a Palm Room
Ah.
at Beverly Hills Hotel. But yes, there is a Polo Lounge there too. as well.
We get a raise here by Tony. He's got pocket sixes. He's going to make it 25 to go. And Hav is called with 7-4 of diamonds. We got multi-way action here.
Yeah.
Two king queens and a jack 8 of clubs. 5-way action, $125 in the pot. Ace 9-5.
This is everybody, it looks like.
Tony's got the best hand with sixes. Does he take a shot at it? Nope.
Wow, well, see, that's the magic aces out there with all those players. You got to assume one of them's got an ace, don't you?
Turns a 4.
Maybe he takes a shot now.
Now he's going to bet. He's going to bet 35. Boy, that's awfully weak.
Anyone but you, Tony, I try to give a bad beat to
But Hav's going to fold.
I don't have an ace. You guys have an ace, you got the best.
I don't either, but I try to.
That's Tony saying, I don't have an ace. You guys have an ace. You got the best hand.
Johnny, I'll give you 35.
But look at this. Shaheen's going to call with king queen. With king queen. I got to tell you, that's jazz. I'm sorry. With
If
king
Tony
queen.
tells me he doesn't have an ace, if you have an ace, you have the best hand, why not raise him?
River's an ace.
Well, now you're not going to get him.
What are you going to do?
Let's see if Jazz makes a bluff at it.
I'm not bluffing you. 75 only.
He's going to bet 75 here.
25.
I think I beat you.
And Tony calls.
I beat you. My king queen beat you.
I told you don't try to bluff.
Tony's got a little read there, huh?
Yeah, Tony said, don't bluff me. I'm going to call you.
I want one more ace and I'm going to have
Hey, hey.
I put him in a jack queen, man.
There's a good shot of Jay right there.
Yeah, these guys are having a good time.
Jay's
here.
always got a smile on his face, doesn't he?
Well, he's playing poker. Poker's fun, right?
Didn't Jay used to have like a shaved head before?
He
Remember
definitely had a
used-
different hairstyle.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but shade's probably right.
Buttons over there in seat 3. Got about, maybe 55 minutes left in the show. Tony's going to raise it up again, third consecutive time. Or did he? Oh, he just limped. Just limped. Tony limped with 9-7 offsuit. Wow. We got a lot of interesting hands here.
Yeah. Turned into a real passive game, hasn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-way action.
7-way action, $70 pot to the flop. The flop is all diamonds. Wow, 6-4 deuce of diamonds. George is the best hand here right now with a pair of sixes.
Well, Kirk is going to lead out here with king queen with the king of diamonds. He's going to bet 60.
The only problem in this game.
George quickly folds top pair there.
Yeah.
But Jazz is going to call with deuce 8.
He's got a pair and an 8 of diamonds.
He's got the best hand right now.
Yes.
He needs to dodge a king, a queen, or a diamond. Turns at 10. His hand is still good.
He's going to bet it.
Kirk checks.
75.
And he bets 75, Jazz does.
And Kirk is going to call with just the king of diamonds. I mean, can you really call with just the king of diamonds here?
Well, here we go to the river. The river's a jack.
Wow.
Let's see if Jazz thinks he needs to bet here at the end.
I didn't hit it, man.
Well, Kirk's
Gets
open-ended
checked
now.
down,
too.
but a pair of deuces is good. Wow.
I got to tell you, Kirk's game, I mean, you were saying that it's a tournament game, but maybe this is a little bit higher than he normally plays. I know you were playing 3 to 5 with him before, right?
I was playing 500 with him before.
You were?
actually.
Okay. Well, it's really odd. I mean, he played that really passively. He bet it and then just checked down the whole way and check and call. I mean, with not even a nut draw.
I actually started this game with George and Hob before you got here today.
Oh, okay.
This game actually sometimes will start before the 3 to 5 game. It's the right line
Yeah.
is there.
Well, oftentimes our 500 game goes right through the night.
Yeah.
I know our 30 game last night did actually. Went right through the night.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to actually meet us, you can come down to the Bicycle Casino. We are about 10 miles south of Los Angeles in Bell Gardens. And Bart and I are here almost always.
Except on the weekends.
Right.
6-way action here, limped around, $60 pot.
Although I'm actually here Saturdays.
You can buy anything you want, man.
Ace 7-6 with a couple of hearts.
Tony's got an ace.
Tony's got ace deuce. It's the best hand. Turns a queen, and now he's going to bet it. Look how much limping is going on now, Dave.
Tony kind of likes to just, check the flop, see what happens, and if it seems safe, then he throws in a bet.
And Iman calls with a pair of sixes.
I think you have the best hand.
Jazz calls with a pair of sixes with a flush draw. How about Jazz raises there on the turn? But he doesn't. And the river is a 4. It's a third heart. Tony
Wrong
checks.
flush.
Iman checks.
One pair.
And Tony's going to win it there.
Queen is
Yeah.
good.
The ace is good.
And Tony's even getting some value out of these little pots because he's throwing in like a little $35 bet and getting called in 2 or 3 spots.
I mean, do you really think that Tony was going to take any type of heat there? If Jazz, well, I guess if it was Jazz, but if any player raised him on the turn
Black king, that's what I bet.
with ace deuce.
Probably not. You'd have to reevaluate the hand, But not real heat. $75 bet, yeah, maybe. But not real heat. He'd probably put somebody on 2 pair. Somebody locked into queen 4 or something like that.
Button here has moved over to seat 5.
Excuse me, can I go leave?
We got a raise here to
40?
50.
50, okay.
Yeah.
Don't tell him to that.
And Tony's going to muck king queen off suit there in the small blind. Sylvester raised there with king 5. And Kirk is going to give him a call with 8-9 off suit. $100 bot heads up. Well, ace 4 deuce, the ultimate scare card there.
And Sylvester's still in the lead here. He's got king high, plus he has a wheel draw. St. Kirk is pretty much, he's like a check call person. He's in pretty much a calling station from what I'm watching. And it's funny, this game is somewhat built around Jazz. I mean, Jazz is the action player in the game, but he's been playing pretty strong today, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, his
He hasn't really
pre-flop,
done anything out of line, and when he did flop a huge hand, he got paid off. Yeah, his pre-flop hand selection is somewhat suspect.
but hey, if you're going to, when you hit 2 pair, you double up, hey, great.
Okay, here. How about here? Can you give me good luck? Wish I double up.
The button moves over here to seat 6.
Small blind is $5, big blind is $10.
Don't look. I said not you
Raise,
guys.
make it 40.
$40 raise here from Kirk, actually. And he's got queen 10. Not much of a great hand, but
Queen 10 off suit.
might be getting a little impatient.
Aren't you
Hasn't picked up many pots.
That's it?
George has got 10-9. He's badly dominated.
And he
Yeah,
is not going to play.
No. He's going to lay it down. Now, if you want to actually play on Live at the Bike, you can come down here and just sign up and play. Now, obviously, if you want to play in our Friday night game, you've got to come down early because our Friday night game usually has a big, big board, and that's a $1,000 buy-in game, minimum buy-in. Most people buy in for $3,000 or $4,000. But you can play in any of these games. All you got to do is come down, and we'll try to make you famous. Obviously, our show has been picked up in England, and it goes by the LA Poker Scene on the Poker Channel in England. So if you come on down to the bike, you can be on TV and on the web. And like I said, Bart and I will do our best to make you famous or infamous. Button is in seat 8. We're going to get a small little sweetener. A $35 raise here from Sylvester. It's kind of a mini raise. And Hav is going to call here. And George is going to call also with deuces. And Amon's going to call threes now. And Hav actually has ace-10, so Sylvester's in bad shape here. He needs a 7 only. Well, there's the ace. And Hav has got the best hand here. He's got ace with a 10 kicker. Plus he's got the gut shot. And Sylvester's his ace also. Let's see if he gets in trouble, though. Not a great flop for ace-10 either, though, to be honest. Hav also has the backdoor flush draw. And this is the problem sometimes with ace-7. You, oftentimes you can win a small pot or lose a big one. But I'm not sure if Hav loves his hand either here.
It's been a week since I hit a set. Well, it's obvious everyone's folding, so I fold as well.
Everybody folds.
And Hav is going to lay it down without even thinking about it. Wow. I mean, I got to be honest. To me, that's a little tight. And I really do like Hav's game. I mean, he's probably one of my, one of the people that we watch that I like probably the best. But ace-10 of diamonds there. He's got redraw for a diamond. He's also got the gut shot. And to fold that quickly, I mean, the pot is $140. You know, the pot's 210. You're getting 3-1 on your money. And you might even have the best hand. And you have the button. I mean, if you're not sure, you can throw a little mini raise in there, or you can even smooth call and see what happens on the turn. I think throwing it away is a little bit passive. Just my opinion. A little raise here from Kirk here. He's going to raise with pocket jacks, and this is interesting. Hav's got ace-king now. Kirk has made it 120. Now, you see the problem with how his raises change. When he had queen-10, he raised it at $40, but here with pocket jacks, he has raised it to 120. If you're playing in a game with a guy like this, you can pick up on that real quick. And I believe Hav is just smooth calling the 120.
Big call, then I want to go in.
And Jazz is probably going to call, too. He's got a suited 9-5 of clubs.
I call.
And it's going to go 3 ways here. The pot is now $360. Kirk doesn't have much money left, but Hav and Jazz have a lot. And there's the set of jacks. Wow. 3 jacks for Kirk. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he slow plays it a little bit. But he's going to move all in. It's only got about $350, and it's about $320 pot. He's going to take it down right now. He's bemoaning his luck that nobody can play with him, but he keeps flopping sets or flopping trips.
Bad, man.
I'm playing so bad, man.
You're playing bad, really. You're playing bad.
I don't like them too hard. Joe got one hit hard.
And Kirk's back up to about $700 now.
You don't want to get a bad beat.
I didn't have enough.
And sometimes that's a problem with ace-king in this game as well. You got to understand, if you don't take control with ace-king, and you just passively call somebody, oftentimes ace-king can be overvalued. Actually, Dan Abrams writes an interesting article in Card Player magazine this month talking about the overvaluing of ace-king. Because a lot of people will say ace-king versus jacks, well, it's pretty much a coin flip. Well, that's only if ace-king sees all 5 cards. And how often is pocket jacks going to let you see all 5 cards?
Dan Abrams wrote an article in Card Player this month?
Yeah, Dan Abrams, actually one of the producers for our English show, LA Poker Scene.
That's right.
Is has written about 5 articles for Card Player magazine.
But actually, that's the one with Gavin Smith on the cover. I actually haven't looked at that. I just finished the one with Freddie D. I'll have to pick that up on my way out tonight.
Yeah, he wrote an article about the how ace-king is overvalued in no-limit hold'em games.
Cash games, I would assume, is what he is referring to, right?
You know what? I haven't read the article yet.
Ah.
I just saw that. All I saw was the title. I saw Ace King is now overvalued in no limit games.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, the reason, Shirley and I often have this discussion is that you can really push hard with Ace King. In a tournament, you need to live and die sometimes by Ace King. You've got to sometimes commit. In a cash game, there's really no reason for it. Ace King is just a drawing hand. But in a tournament, when you need to build up chips, you need to make moves with Ace King. You need to be able to have to make calls also when you make all-in calls when the pot is laying you, say, sometimes 3 or 4 to 1 because of the pot odds.
If you have enough chips, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in a tournament, the same thing. I don't want to be calling with Ace King. I don't mind moving in with Ace King. I don't want to be calling.
I'm just saying when the pot justifies it, though.
Right.
Sometimes you need to make those calls.
Well, especially later on in the tournament when you know other players that are short stacked are moving in with Ace Rag and King Queen and so forth.
We got three-way action here. Sylvester raised from seat 5 with King Queen, and the flop comes King 7-7. He's hit top pair, and I think he checked it.
Wow.
And everyone checked. Turns
An
a
interesting
deuce,
way to play it.
and now he's going to bet. George did not fire.
Well, he's got the hand locked up. Nobody else can even. Yeah, everybody else is drawing dead.
And he takes it down.
Take it down, Mr. Brown.
But for that reason, I think that, again, it's the same reason why a lot of people overvalue Ace Rag in these cash games, especially what we see in the lower cash games, the restricted buy-in cash games. People sometimes play that like it's absolute gold because they're used to watching the final tables of the WPT events when they're 4 and 5 handed,
Right.
where any ace is gold, right? Just not the thing in a full ring game, in a cash game. I mean, the hand is garbage.
I mean, obviously, a big difference between cash games and tournament play is in a tournament game, and people they forget about this. They go, tournaments, there are accelerating blinds and antes. In a cash game, this game started out 5-10 blinds. 10 hours from now, it'll still be 5-10 blinds.
Well, there is no real reason to mix it up with those types of hands. There's no urgency to build up chips.
Right. With your patient and your disciplines, and you let the cards come to you, eventually they will.
Well, look at this. Jazz raised and George called with the ace-3 suited. These two have a history, and if spades comes, they're represented here. Well, Jazz is out flop George. But Jazz was the pre-flop raiser. And look at this. Jazz plays it tricky. It goes check, check. Turns a 4, and now George has a wheel draw. He checks. And again,
George is double gutted here. A deuce or a 6 would give it to him.
See if he recognizes it.
Yeah,
it's
a
only
deuce,
a
a 6, or an ace.
$50 bet, and he's going to make the call. Now, if a 6 comes, it's obvious, but if a deuce comes, it's not that obvious.
Right.
Here we go to the river. River's a 10.
Well, it's academic now.
Jazz is going to bet here again.
Do you wonder, is George going to pay him off with ace high, though?
Well, the problem is he can't beat any other ace high.
He can only beat, you try to think of my hand he can beat king, queen.
Right, and he folds, and Jazz takes it down. I mean, the thing is that, okay, 1 out of, say, 10 or 20 times, maybe you can trap there with king, jack, try to play it a little bit tricky. But, I mean, is George or Hob the type of players that are really just going to bet into you blindly on the turn with nothing? Not really.
Not really, but, I mean, I hand Jazz, though, he did get an extra $50 out of him. Obviously, he also risked. I mean, had a deuce, a 6, or an ace come, he would have lost the pot.
I mean, he definitely could have had an ace come on the turn there.
Oh, definitely.
We either leave now or we don't leave at all. We go straight to the club from here. Is that?
And Dave, this is a similar instance when we used to have the bombshell model girls on. You've got a guy there who's obviously with seat
Iman.
1, Aman, and they both came in the same car. And that guy wants to leave, but Aman does not want to leave. Anyone seen the highlight reel know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and unlike that one, I am not offering to drive him home.
We got a raise here by seat 3. He brought it up with ace king, and George called with ace rag suited. Now let's see how George is going to play this.
Yeah, if he had ace 3, he'd be okay, but ace 4 is not as good, obviously.
And Jazz is going to bet
And look,
here.
and this time Jazz bets his hand. I mean, Jazz is somewhat tricky. You never know what he has.
And George makes a check call here. Turns a deuce.
Well, George has picked up a wheel draw.
George checks, and Jazz is going to bet 100 now.
George needs a 5 or a 4 to win this pot.
And George calls. We've got about a $400 to $500 pot here, and the river's a 3. Don't you value bet here if you're Jazz with Ace
Definitely.
King? He's going to bet 300.
And
George calls.
Yeah.
And George calls. And Ace King is going to take it down. He's beat George again. Unbelievable. I can tell you, if I put George on a weak ace there, and I'm Jazz, and I have had this history today, the pot, Dave, was about $500. I might bet $700 or $800 at the end there on the river.
Yeah.
I mean,
the problem is George has got to be there and go, okay, what can I beat? And am I going to pay $800 or $700 in there to chop it up? I mean, Jazz really hasn't gotten that out of line. I mean, it's not like Jazz is bluffing every other hand, is he?
well, he's not, but I think that George really wants to get his number.
Yeah, no, I know he does. I know he does.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think the only reason George called that river was because the board paired, and there's a queen out there, and he figured, okay, I can chop it up with him if he has like an ace-9 or an ace-10.
Well, that's why I think why not make it look like you're just trying to steal a chop by overbetting the river there at the
Yeah.
end.
Look, and there's Ed, and there's Mo,
Yeah.
Whoa, can I get some food?
hugging and being happy.
Well, George has got ace-queen, and this time he just limped in from seat 9. Here we go to the flop.
Wow.
5-4.
And this is a flops a straight. Jazz has flopped a straight.
He has.
Oh.
A couple diamonds out there. He did not bet. The turn is an 8. It pairs an 8, but no one has an 8.
Nope.
And now Hav is going to bet with a 5.
Well, he's going to take a shot at it. Why not?
Let's see what Jazz does. He's going to raise.
Make it 150.
He's going to make it 150 to go.
And Kirk will probably get rid of his 5 now. Sylvester's obviously out, and I imagine Hobb is probably going to fold as well. And look, we got 2 professionals there. George and Hobb, and Jazz has got their number, both their numbers tonight, huh?
Yep. I don't think Hobbs going to get involved with this one.
Yeah.
And Hobbs shows it. Flopped straight.
And
Takes
the
it down.
river would have been a 7 of hearts. Wouldn't have done anything, obviously.
I'm almost there in a week, man.
Hobb actually was not drawing dead. He would have needed an 8 or a 5 on the river to win that pot, had he called.
And the button's going to move over there to seat 7.
Food service.
And Kirk is calling for food service. Jazz is going to raise here to 45. He's got king 10 of spades.
And Tony's going to call with ace 10 offsuit.
Let me take my time on
Yeah,
that.
first asked me there was a nobody.
Tony might be playing the player, though, here. This is Jazz raising, so.
Yeah.
Carlos.
See, the only thing with a lot of these players not raising with ace king and ace queen is if you have a player like Jazz who's calling with, calling raises with some suspect hands,
Right.
why not charge him?
Well, it's a value raise.
Exactly.
At that
You're
time.
value raising pre-flop.
4-way action. And Tony has Jazz dominated.
There you go.
Well,
That's all right.
5-6-4 here on the flop rainbow.
And Hobb has outflopped them all.
Best any chasing me.
But Jazz is going to bet.
It's 75.
He's going to bet 75 here.
But is Hobb going to get involved here? Sometimes you got to pick your spots, and it's one of those ones where Hobb just doesn't want to pick it.
Look at this. George calls with a gut shot to the 7. Well, actually, he's open-ended there. He could catch
Yeah.
a deuce or a 7 with his 3. Turns a 6.
And if
Jazz
George
is
would,
going to continue to bet.
if
He's gonna
George
bet
would
150.
raise with his bluff, it would raise with his draw instead of call, he would take this one down.
And George folds it. And boy, Jazz really has the best of George tonight.
Yeah.
And the rabbit cam shows a 6. Jazz would have won it with king high
Yeah.
if George hadn't made a move.
No, it's not your card. That's a flop.
And we're strong advocates. Sometimes when you raise with your draws, you set yourself up to get hammered because they can always raise you back. But in the long run, I know both of us are big advocates for raising with your draws.
Look at this. We got an email from a female viewer.
Really?
If Shirley was in the booth, I'd have to ask her to leave.
Oh, okay.
Just like if a female viewer had come in and played in the game. Do you get where I'm going at?
I do. Of
Oh,
course.
okay.
I understand
Fine.
exactly.
Just wanted to send a quick thanks to you, great. Jesus. Jeez, Dave. Just wanted to send a quick thanks to you guys tonight. You don't know it, but you're feeding my live poker fix as I've been down with the flu the last few days. Not being able to go play at will is a bit more frustrating than I'd care to admit. Laugh out loud. So thanks for doing such a great job as always. Well, thank you very much, Tina Luge. Thank you very much. And I've been sickened with the flu, but I've had to come and commentate. And I'm getting a little better here. Now, Sylvester raised here with pocket queens. And Sylvester's going to bet 60.
See where he's at, and he's going to find that he's going to... Oh, wow.
Oh, look at this. Jazz is going to check raise with 10-3 suited.
And I imagine he's going to take this one down. And I got to tell you, I mean, this is a nice play by Jazz. Because you got to go, if Sylvester has a pair, Sylvester can't beat the ace and can't beat a 7.
And Sylvester just calls. He called, though, Dave.
Well, now let's see if...
oh, wow, the turn's an ace, and that's a little of an action.
No, it shouldn't be, though. If Jazz thinks he's got him, he should bet it. Well,
he's going to check.
No jackpot?
Check, check. And the river's an 8. And Jazz is just giving up now.
Yeah, well, he check raised, but he didn't check raise enough, and he didn't follow through with it. If he follows through with it, he probably takes the pot down.
Well, sometimes it's like that turn card, pairs. It's like, well, does he have a 7, does he have an 8? It's less likely now, obviously. Like you said.
But he checked. I mean, look at the flop there, Bart. The flop is ace 7-7, rainbow. He check raised him. What does he have? You know what I mean?
Could have a lower pocket pair.
No, definitely.
And we got a live straddle here by Jazz in seat 3. I should learn after doing this for about 9 or 10 months, Dave.
Yeah.
That I should really read through the email before I read it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when people email, it's not always grammatically correct. And if you read it word for word, you catch yourself and you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's a word missing here.
Yeah.
But, we do it on the fly here.
We're live, unedited, and we're going to keep it that way. We got a straddle here, straddled pot.
By Jazz, yeah. And it gets limped around.
So it's $80 pot now.
4 ways. 6-4-3 rainbow.
Wow, and George is the best hand here with ace 6.
He's playing ace 6, ace rag offsuit on the button. He's going to bet.
Bet 60.
He bets 60, and Jazz is going to call.
With a gut shot. And an overcard.
Well, of course, here's the problem. Look at this. Kirk calls with bottom pair and the same gut shot. Turns a 9. Probably chasing this gut shot, David. It's obvious George is not going to pay you off. But it gets checked around on the turn, and the river is an 8.
That doesn't help anybody here. George still has the best hand. Both players needed a 5.
I check.
Ace 6 is good.
Anyone got a pair?
Working on it. I was working on that, but I missed it.
And nobody wants to show anything. And George is going to show the winner here and take it down.
Well, why did George check the turn there? It was like, well, give him a free card, put a 7 up there. Now, which means to me that he thought that everyone had a 5 and was open-ended.
Right.
Why would you check there when a 9 came? Would you still think that ace 6 is good at that point?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, to me, you want it. I would like to bet on the turn there, charge them for their draw at least.
Right.
Don't let me get me. He's not gonna get me in camera.
We got about a half an hour left in the show.
But oftentimes, a lot of times, these guys want to keep the pot small.
Too ugly for that.
Just take down a small pot and not worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm too ugly for that.
He's been on it all night.
Buttons moved over there to seat 1.
Once again, thank you for all your emails and for everybody that participates on the 2+2 thread. We really do appreciate it. Makes it a lot more fun for us knowing that actually there are people out there watching.
Yes.
Alright, I'll check the card.
Four players.
4-way action, limped around. Queen 4 deuce, rainbow.
Well, Hava's got an open-ended straight draw here. Well, he's got backdoor diamonds. But Kirk actually has the best hand here with Jack 4, but it gets checked around.
Bet 50.
And Jazz is going to bet here bottom pair. He's got Jack deuce.
And it looks like it's not good because Kirk has the second bottom pair there with Jack 4, and he's going to make the call. And Jazz would need to catch a 2 here because they're both sharing the same kicker. But Hav calls. He's open-ended.
3 players.
Now, Hob needs an ace or a 6, but actually a 5 would be good too.
And the river's a deuce. And look at that. Jazz sucks out. Oh, my. He's going to bet 300. And unfortunately for him, Kirk didn't really have much.
The funny thing is, Kirk is bemoaning his bad luck. Like what? He had Jack 4. What, like he was upset with the river card? What was he want? What did he want on the river card?
I think he wanted Jazz to shut down. Is what he wanted.
Okay.
He wanted a free showdown. Now, Dave, when I stepped out of the room, did I miss something? Did Kirk flop a top set and bet, and everyone's giving him a hard time?
Yeah. Kirk actually had a pocket jacks. Hob had ace king. Flop came out jack high, and he moved all in for like $300. And the pot was about $300. So, it's an interesting play. Sometimes, I mean, there's always that. There's two trains of thought there. Some people say slow play, let people catch up, but some people say if you bet your hands and you also bet your bluffs the same way, you're more likely to get action. You're also more likely to have your bluffs be work as well.
Well, that's why we always say, like a person like Corporation Mike, he should always be betting his good hands,
Definitely.
his sets, all that stuff. Pots are linked around 6 ways, $60 to the flop. 9-5-5 with a couple of diamonds.
I mean, Doyle Brunson actually advocates betting your big hands right into the razor.
Right. And looks like Jazz had the best hand, but he did not come out and bet. Let's see if he bets now with Jack 9.
All right, you want to do it? I give it to you.
And now he's going to bet.
Looks like he's betting about $100.
60.
60. Okay. Small little stacks, I guess.
Stunning. I know.
And he's going to take this down. Nobody's got anything yet. But he advocates, and one of the reasons he says is he thinks check raising is somewhat weak play. I don't know if it's weak, but I think it definitely should be part of your arsenal, you know. But at the same time, let's say you have aces, right, and I flop a set, and I bet right into you, more often than not, you're going to raise me, which gives me the opportunity to re-raise you, and that way the pot's much bigger. Now, if I check to you, and you bet, and then I check raise, well, then you're like, wait a second, you're check raising, and there's less money in the pot. Instead of there being 3 bets and there's only 2. I mean, that's kind of a little, that's his train of thought, at least, in the sense of.
Well, especially like in a restricted buying game when you're always looking at pot odds.
Right.
Like at 200 or 3 to 5. You put a bet in, you build the pot. Now you've got the guy, like you said, raising you. Now you come back over the top. There's that much more money that might induce him to call.
Right.
When you have like something like a set.
Oftentimes we've seen that sometimes where somebody has such a big hand, but they check it all the way to the river, and the pot is so small, and the other guy's like, forget it, I don't even care about it.
Yeah. Now we had a raise here.
Raised by what? Who?
By seat number 3, Jazz.
And he's raising at 7-6.
We got 3 callers. So, $160 pot.
You don't want to put it out there.
And here we go. 4-way action. To the flop, Jazz is the pre-flop raiser. Queen, Jack, 8. Iman's got top 2.
Top 2 pair. Now, he's played it. Every time he's hit his hand, he's played it really passively.
That's a very bad card.
Real
He
slow.
hasn't really maximized, and once again.
Yeah, it gets checked around. 3rd heart on the turn. Deuce of hearts.
And is that going to scare him now?
Look at this. He checked it again. He checked Queen Jack again, and the river is a 4th heart. Anyone with the 10 would have a straight. And Jazz has the best hand with 7 of hearts, Dave.
And he's going to bet
Are
it.
you kidding me? This is a comical hand.
Yeah, I mean,
And look at this. Jay's going to call him with pocket 5s with the 5 of hearts.
Yep.
Oh, my.
And now what's Aman going to do?
Aman checked the Queen Jack all the way.
And he's going to bemoan his bad luck. I mean, I don't know what he.
I got a 5. I got a 7, man.
And Jazz wins. Wow.
You remember me again, man.
And that was a raised pot.
Right.
I mean, that was like a $140 pot. I just don't understand the play there. I mean, I got to tell you, I mean, Aman seems like a nice guy. And once again, when we attack somebody's play, it's not a personal thing. But the way he played tonight, we saw him earlier on one of the first hands of the night when he called down all the way with pocket 7s where there was a jack on the board. And there's a lot of betting and a lot of raising going on. And then there, I mean, I just don't understand what you're doing with 2 pair.
Well, maybe he thought he thought the Jazz was gonna bet on the flop because he was the pre-flop raiser. He was gonna go for a check raise.
Okay.
And then I guess on the turn, he was scared that somebody else was gonna check raise him. I mean, I would think, I can see somebody might check the flop.
Figuring that Jazz
But when
was
that
throwing a
turn
bet.
comes, like you said, a heart, and you don't have a heart, you've got to bet on the turn.
Yeah.
When that third flush card comes on the turn, you have a strong hand, but you don't have the flush, you have to bet.
To be honest with
you
you,
can't check it.
if I hit 2 pair there like that,
Yeah.
I almost would rather bet it into the razor. Once again, bet into the razor.
Right.
Hopefully he has ace queen, and he'll raise you.
Right. Deuce 3-9 here, limped around with a couple of diamonds.
But especially with a queen jack 8 board, 2 hearts. I mean, there's a lot of cards that can be scary.
Now, Jazz is bet into an open-ended straight draw. Look at this Kirk calls with ace 3, and we're heads up. Turns a jack, it's a diamond. Let's see if Jazz uses this.
Once again, though, Kirk is he's checking and calling, and he checks again.
So Jazz checks now, and Kirk checks right behind him. And the river is a diamond.
And Jazz gets there.
And Jazz is going to bet, and Kirk calls him with ace 3. Ace 3 he calls him with.
Yeah. And,
Wow.
and he's upset. He only has himself to be upset at. Once again, I mean, I don't know any winning poker player that just calls. You have to show some aggression. If you think your hand is the best hand, when the guy bets into you on the flop, then raise him.
I'm always having fun. Tony, you see me crying?
And then when the guy checks to you, definitely bet. Take it down. You know, I mean, if you're going to play it that passively, well, certainly don't pay him off when there's 4 diamonds on the board and you've got a pair of 3s.
And I'm a little bit drunk too because I was empty stomach. I had a fleet wine bottle.
Got an email here from Paul Chino.
You guys have a chance.
Says, I'm enjoying your broadcast tonight. Just want to know if you guys play no-limit cash games yourself. Is there a chance that the web viewers can see how you play the game?
There is.
We'll get to that in a second. Wow, look at this. George is going to raise to 80 with 10-5 offsuit, but Tony's got pocket kings. And I think that Tony just smooth called there. Tony smooth called with kings, and George has got 10-5 offsuit. And the flop comes king, queen, 4. And Tony checks the set, turns a 3.
Yeah, and Tony is drawing. Actually, I don't know if Tony has a club in his hand.
Why isn't he betting? It's a third club on the turn. He's got a set of red kings.
Yeah, this is just like the knight from the Bizarro.
I know.
Really strange. And you know the funniest thing is, he almost let him get there. If a club comes on the river,
that's what I was saying.
George wins. Amazing. And to answer that question, actually,
Again, I mean, what we can take away from this night is if you have a big hand on the turn, what I mean by big hand is 2 pair or better. Let's say top 2 pair or better. Or a set. And the third flush card comes on the turn, you cannot check the turn. I just, unless, like you said, unless you're trying to play it so cagey that you're trying to induce a bluff.
I mean, I've seen it done successfully where you're playing heads up with somebody.
Right.
You know, you're not going to automatically give them credit for having one of those cards, and you're taking a chance that that fourth suit won't come out. You know, the fourth one of that suit won't come out. You know, and you're trying to induce a little bluff. But, you know, you're definitely taking a chance there.
Sylvester has ace king here in seat 5.
And there he is, Al Pacino, Scarface.
Amon's buddy. They're trying to go to the club.
I mean, that guy actually almost looks like Al Pacino.
They're trying to go to the club, Dave, but Amon's still in the game.
Now, the
Sylvester has
interesting thing
raised to
is,
60.
I'm only wondering who's driving, though. I hope it's not that guy.
I don't think it's personal, I know, but it's just weird. Beautiful coincidence.
3-way action.
Ace king for Sylvester here.
Jack 8-7, and Jazz has the best hand. Although, excuse me, George's got a better kicker. And Sylvester's going to make the continuation bet. And actually, Jazz has the better kicker.
All the way around there.
Yeah, but George has a straight draw.
George has got the gut shot.
And Sylvester has bet 150 here on the flop, which makes the pot, I want to say, Dave, about 390. I think he raised at 80 pre-flop.
Now, this is one of those times if you put Jazz on like Jack King or Jack Ace, you could actually call because then you got an 8 as an out, a 10 as an out, and a 9.
Now look at this. Jazz check raises Sylvester all in. He check raises him all in.
Now, he's actually not really going all in because Sylvester's only got
Well, he's got 700 left.
Right.
Now the issue here is that, I mean, it makes the pot the pot was 340, and then with Jazz's call it's 440. Let's say he makes it another 700. That means the pot's 1140, 700 to call. And yeah, I mean, even if Sylvester thought he had a small pair. Not really getting odds to call
No,
him
definitely
there.
not. He's only got 6 outs. 6 outs 2 times.
I said you got nothing left.
And the turn would have been a 10, actually giving George 2 pair. Wow.
Care about ace king? Who gives a shit about ace king?
Jack 8?
Yeah, 6 outs times 2, and you don't even know if they're clean outs. Because if your opponent has king jack
I would call bullshit.
or
I've
ace
seen it
jack, well then you
before,
only got
so-
3 outs.
Well, let's address this email. Sometime in the future, either next week or the week after that, I
I had a
believe,
good hand on Jack.
I will be playing Corporation Mike heads up.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a best 2 out of 3
Best out of 2
heads up match.
$1,000 each match, right?
$1,000 each match. Yeah.
Great.
It
should be
might
exciting.
be 500 each match, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be 1,000 each
Okay.
match. And so you get to see us there. And if you want to see us, we've been on the show before. Just sign up for the archives.
Yeah.
We've been on several times.
Not recently, to be honest.
Right.
Early in the Live at the Bike days, we had a few more commentators on with us, and which gave us obviously the chance to play in the games.
I thought you were going to call me.
But we're here.
The
to be
B
honest with you-
team, right?
Yeah, exactly. But Bart and I are actually here probably 25 to 30 hours a week. So if you're actually in the Los Angeles area, come on down and you can play with us.
6-way action here, limped around. You had the A team playing and the B team commentating.
Yeah, exactly. Jazz has got top pair here.
It's funny, you ran into Scott Groves today when he walked
Take him
in.
down.
Right,
Take him
right.
down.
Dude's no good,
The
huh?
quintessential C team.
Don't bet too much, okay?
Tony, my dude's no good, huh?
Tony has
I have to pull
Jazz
you out on
bet,
dudes.
and
Don't
Tony
bet too
called
much.
with Jack 9.
I have to pull you
Actually, you know
out
what?
on my dudes.
Tony bet and Jazz called.
Well, now Tony's got a draw.
And Jazz is going to bet
I have to pull
50
you out
now.
my dudes.
Well, now Tony's got a real hand. Now Tony's got open-ended here. And does he take one off, try to win a big
Have
pot?
dudes.
The interesting thing is, this is one of those times where if he actually catches his king or his
Raise me, Tony, I
eight to
go
make
all
his
in, I promise you.
make it straight,
Raise me, I go all in.
Jazz doesn't have much.
It's a deal. Right here, the money.
I just called it.
He's just going to call.
It's nice to have the option, though, huh?
Here we go to the river. River's a 4, and Jazz's hand's good here with the 10.
Yep.
Tenny, 150.
And Jazz is going to bet 150.
And I imagine this is going to go bet, fold, and that's the end of it.
If you bid 2 pair, call me, otherwise get out.
Okay. I can't do that.
And that's the end of it.
Yes.
Also, next Tuesday,
Show you
supposedly,
one of
I am going to be playing on the Bike.com's free site, our Play for Free site, and there supposedly will be a bounty on my head. So if you want to play for free
Honestly,
and try to win a prize,
but just get out.
find out what the prize is later, and try to knock me out on Tuesday.
And what is your user going to be named? Probably Friar Tuck.
I have no clue. It'll be Tuckman. Probably. Make it really easy for everybody.
And here we go with another chip count. So Jazz is by far, I think, the big winner for tonight, Dave.
Wow.
Up over $2,000.
And George now, I mean, George rebought in for $5,000, so he's down another $900 on top.
And he's down about $3,000 for the night. And Hav, he hasn't really moved at all tonight.
No. Shaheen, though, he's done pretty well.
Yeah, he's up about $1,600 for playing about 4 hands the whole night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, when you only buy in for $600 or $700, you know, tripling your money is pretty good.
Well, here's another hand that Shaheen's going to play, Dave. Pocket queens in seat 2. And he's just limped in under the gun. I mean, do you wonder, is he trying to limp re-raise here? Or is he just doesn't think he doesn't want to play queens for a raise early position?
I think he likes to play hands really cheap until he hits the, until he gets the nuts, pretty much. That's the only thing I can think of.
6-way action. Well, Jack, Jack 10. Let's see if he puts a feeler bet out here.
That's what he did last time. I'll probably do the same thing. Last time he had queens, he had the same thing happen, and it was Jack 9-9 flop.
No, he's going to bet it.
Yeah, put a little feeler bet out, see where he's at.
35.
Tony's got a gut shot, but he's not going to chase. And I don't think anybody else can even come close to calling this. He takes it down.
And the issue here for Shaheen, though, is like, do you want to make a raise for value? Although I don't know if the players are paying any attention. I mean, he might have got a call from Jay with deuce 3 of diamonds.
No, that's the
I
whole
mean-
point. A lot of these players have been calling $40, $50 raises with
Yeah.
somewhat suspect holdings. And I think
Right.
you are giving up some, I think you're giving up some value there by not raising pre-flop of queens.
For the last round.
You know what I mean? Instead of him winning a $50 pot, he probably could have won a $150 pot.
The usual.
Live straddle here by Jazz. So it's 20 to call. We got a call here by Hob with King 9 suited. George is going to limp in on the butt with Queen Deuce diamonds. And we've got 5-way action. So that means it's a $100 pot. Ace 4 Queen.
Wow,
all
nice flop
hearts.
for Hob there, huh?
Yeah, he's flopped the nut flush. See if he bets it in position.
Wow, and Kirk has a set of 4s.
Oh,
This
boy.
could get interesting. And Kirk's moving all in.
Kirk's going to move right all in here on the flop, and Hobbs got the nuts. He's moving into Hobbs' nuts.
And you wonder, Kirk has been doing this all night. Basically, every time he gets a good hand, he moves all in, and he's only going to get called in this spot where by hand that beats him. Now, nobody has an ace, so nobody else is even going to get in trouble here.
400.
And it's 400. And Hobbs just going to, I'm sure Hobbs going to call. I mean,
I would
probably not
imagine.
reason
Yeah,
to
no
raise.
reason to raise it. Smooth call.
Yeah.
But just by Hobbs smooth calling would kill anybody else from staying
Yeah,
in anyway.
Absolutely. Hob calls. And Kirk is screwed. He's going to need the board to pair.
Yep, he's got 6 outs. He's got 8. He has 7 outs right now.
So here
He
we
has
go.
7 outs right now, and he'll pick up 3 more outs on the turn probably. And they're deciding how many times to run it.
I'm not going to go twice. I'll do it 3 times or 1 time.
And Kirk is insulted by the fact that Hob only runs it once or 3 times.
And I got to be honest, that's the way I
1 time only.
And they're going to...
I'll run it 3 times, or we just... I'm not going to run it twice. I'll run it 3 times.
If you want to run it, it's got to be 3 times.
And this is how you see it. When they're running it, it's pretty much a negotiation thing.
So they're going to run it 3 times. King here on the turn. River's a 9. Hob wins the first one. 8, 3. Hob wins the second one. Oh, ace, 6. And Kirk fills up on
Well, it's
the
a good
third
thing that Hob insisted upon doing it 3 times.
Right, right.
Well done there, Hob.
That's how bad my luck is. I flopped a 7 and got 3.
I flopped the nut flush. I gave a third away.
I'm just saying. I mean,
it's not bad luck. It just happens.
I don't know how bad you're running. I mean, when you flop a set with a 3 flush out there, you have not flopped a ridiculously big hand.
No, not at all.
I mean,
you flopped a set. You got to figure somebody's got to draw to beat you.
Right,
Or
right.
somebody already has beat. Who knows?
Right.
It's also bottom set.
1 time.
You're a nice guy, New York.
Absolutely.
And in that case, the pot is split up 3 ways, so Hob takes 2/3 of the pot. And Kirk there gets 1/3 of the pot. And it's funny, I mean, I was looking at what Surfing a Line I said on 2+2, saying how these players, the last hour has been bizarre. And sometimes it's like that. There's really no rhyme and reason to it. Sometimes I'm playing a $200 game, and the players are good, and sometimes they're terrible. Sometimes they're playing a $1,000 game, and sometimes the players are great, and sometimes they're just like, it's really weird.
Option. 4 players.
yeah, but that's how it goes. On this, I haven't made very many hands.
A nice email here from Alex Filahoff. Is that Filiakov? Sorry, and I'll get to it in a second. Little $20 bet for everybody here.
I'm looking at the board.
Flop is King 5-3, 2 diamonds, and interesting hand here. Jay actually has the nut flush draw. Now he's picked up a 9.
Well, Jazz has picked up 2 pair here on the turn.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's actually ace 10.
He bets 40, and Jay calls.
Yeah, Jay calls got the nut draw.
So here we go to the river. The river's a deuce, and Jazz has the best hand here with 9-5 offsuit.
And I don't think, and Jazz is
bets
obviously going to take this one down.
Now, this email from Alex Filikov. He says, awesome show. I was wondering if you were selling the Live at the Bike or the Bicycle Casino poker pads, because they're not available right now on pokerpads.com. Well, word from our producer is that it's coming soon. We have the product. We just have to create the store where they can buy it from.
Super.
So there you go.
Thank you for your email, Alex.
But I mean,
Appreciate
if you want to customize it with something else or buy it for, some sort of, as a Christmas present for somebody, you can check out the ones on Poker Pads.
Right. Just go to liveatthebike.com and click on the poker pads.
Or you can go to pokerpads.com.
There you go.
We have a All right, I guess we wanted you to click through our website.
Raise 35 more.
$35 raise here out of the small blind. Jazz, he's going to raise it up with King Jack off suit. Actually, excuse me,
King
King
9.
9
Suited.
suited. Kirk has got Ace Queen. He's played that slow. He just calls.
Kirk's done it all night. He's been calling all night.
What do you call it? When I bet 300, who's gonna
And if you play it a little more aggressive, more like a tournament player, it's just really odd.
Here we go. 5-way action. 5, deuce, 6.
Well, Amon's got the best hand here.
Ace 6. Let's see if he bets it this time.
Well, he doesn't bet 2 pair. Why would he bet 1 pair?
Well, maybe because it's more vulnerable. And he didn't bet it, Dave, and the turn's a 4.
Well, now he's got the draw. Now, this is interesting.
He's got a top pair with the flush draw, and now
Jay's got the flush draw as well.
Jazz is going to bet 55, and let's see what Jay
You
does.
gonna give me some money?
No. This time I take.
Jay's just going to call.
What you have?
I mean, look at Amon's hand. His hand's almost big enough to raise here. Are you
Oh,
kidding
his
me?
hand is huge. His hand is almost big enough to move all in with. What, are
He
you kidding?
just calls.
He's got a wheel draw.
Wow.
He's got a flush draw and top pair.
The pot's about $400 to the river. The river's a 4, and Amon is good.
All right, 150 now.
But Jazz is only going to bet 150. That's kind of weak. It's a third spade, though, Dave.
Yeah, I don't mind the bet here by him.
Let's see what Amon does.
I think Amon's going to call this, isn't he? I like the bet by Jazz, though. I mean, I got to tell you, 150 is enough. If these guys both just had draws and no pair, it's enough to get them off their hands.
Remember, Jazz checked the flop. It went checked around. Then he fired on the turn and fired on the river. I don't know what Amon was waiting for. Now he's going to make the call, Dave.
Yeah. Well, he's played it so passively. I mean, you can't not call there.
I want to see both hands.
Yes, sir. Show your cards, sir. I have nothing, man.
King 9. Sixes.
What I mean is how you appear.
Did he only think he had ace high there? Like, that's just crazy.
I mean, and he actually was one before the button as well. He had position on these guys. Wow. I tell you, the poker capital of the world is Los Angeles. You want to make some money playing poker? Come on down.
Yeah.
Bicycle Casino.
Ace Queen. I didn't think I usually don't read people that good.
No, you did good.
We got a couple more minutes left in the show.
All right, one more time. I'm going to try it. Drop.
And Jazz is going to raise it up here from the button. $45.
Well, he's got a real
Ace
hand
queen.
this time, Ace Queen.
Hey, handsome.
All right, one time.
45, not 30.
35 more. Oh, now you want more than you put in, man.
Oh,
And here we
I
go.
told you it's not
King
that easy.
7-10. Tony's going to check his pocket fives. And look at this. Ace Queen checks there in position, Dave.
Wow.
He's got a gut shot. The turn's a 9. Well, Hobbs in there with Jack Deuce.
Now, Jazz has got the button. Is he going to bet it?
good.
No, it just checked around again. And the river's a queen.
Well, now Hobbs actually got a straight.
Yep.
Hobbs backed into the straight.
And he bets 100.
And Jazz, I wonder if Jazz is going to pay him off here. He's got Ace Queen now. This is one of those times if you play Ace Queen like this and you play it so soft,
I'll give you
don't pay him off.
Yeah, he's going to
Oh.
call. Wow.
I have a queen.
You know, it's one thing to play it soft, but it's another thing to play it soft, let your opponent get there, and then pay him off.
You want to make straight or no? Let me check. Maybe tomorrow. Hey, you called me.
Well, obviously,
Jack
you know, the
Deuce?
problem with Ace Queen out of position is if you see a flop like that, king high flop, it's a bad flop. Now, he has a gut shot. But if he gets checked to and you've raised pre-flop and you're on the button, my goodness, wouldn't we bet, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're out of position and you raised and you got called in 2 spots, yeah, I understand.
Right.
But if it gets checked to you? Are you kidding me?
Well, this is going to be the last hand of the night. Please join us tomorrow night for a higher limit, no limit, 10-20 blinds, $1,000 minimum, unrestricted buying game.
Are you going to
And-
miss me? I think you're doing it by
I'm
yourself
going to
tomorrow
do a
night.
little solo gig tomorrow night.
Solo. Bart going solo.
Bardo going solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Dave, I hope you enjoy your family function.
I will. I'm actually going to bring my Bart bobblehead with me,
Ah,
just so I don't miss
I
you.
know that at that, was it reunion party? You guys will have Live at the Bike on. Is it birthday party or reunion party?
No, anniversary. 25th
Anniversary.
anniversary.
I know you'll have it on in the background.
Of course.
4 players.
Pot is limited around 4 ways.
$40 pot.
8-5-3 with a couple of diamonds.
Everybody has missed.
It is. You check.
Jay's got a wheel draw.
Turns a third diamond. It's a 7.
Yeah, Kirk's got this jack of diamonds in his hand. But Jay has the best hand.
Checked around again, and the river's a 3.
Actually, I'm sorry. Jazz is the best hand. He's got a pair of 7s there. I apologize.
Yep. Jazz is going to take down another one.
Give me 25, whoever has it.
But he's going to bet, Dave. He bets. He likes to bet, marginal hands on the river, which sometimes can be dangerous and no limit because you open yourself up to big re-raises.
Yeah, exactly. There is some value to not showing your hand, though.
I'd like to.
But I think he shows it anyway half the time.
Right.
There you go. So he basically destroys that value. There we go.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight.
What a night.
Thank you for joining us. It was a little bit bizarre.
Yes.
Twilight Zone-ish.
Definitely.
But Dave Tuckman's always a pleasure.
Always,
and I'll
buddy.
see you next week. And we'll see all of you tomorrow night, I'm sure. So for everyone here in the booth and for David Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.